Islamistischer Hassprediger mitten in Deutschland.
They call themselves anonymous. They are hackers on steroids.
Police say they have arrested 3 suspected hackers believed to be part of an international network.
Anonymous, the group responsible for Operation Payback, which temporarily crippled the websites of MasterCard, Visa, and PayPal.
We are Legion.
We are Anonymous.
Distributed denial of service. The guard, the stack will drag when DOS attacks. Suits without a head get scared and shit. They slash you what we lack. A sense of compassion. And justice must be swift. How turn to hurt in the pockets of white supremacists. These nemesis is never this vicious. We troll the net for missions. Evil's your position. Your file's gonna come up missing. With a post they dissing, posturing and speaking out of fear. Super consciousness. Our warriors of virtual bombardiers. We don't forgive, we don't forget. Expect us wasn't know what you protect us. Come together as a legion. Internet unite, connect us. We will make a presence known. We got folks on the megaphones. Actual inject intravenously like it's prednisone. Rebelling on a larger scale. We Jonas came to slay the whale. We hip till they slither and swing in the blizzards by their tail. We check their mail, defacing professional looking webpage. When I rhyme, I wake the sequels, catatonic red stage. Sputtling the message, encapsulated in the rap track. Black facts is project technology. Target fat cats, but a backtrack. And I'm the type of person never had jack. Destruction of Chris Fall camp, put away this ass act. We vigilant, the vigilante, hide is taking up the anti-cross sign script. And Felicia Palmer with bunch the panties. Epilepsy foundation, fall from invasion. Turks and Brazilians, Tunisians, even Malaysians.
Gawker website, we pulled up just to see, have a look about what's going on. It talks about the power people now have on the internet if they want to do this.
Technically speaking, they are heroes because they can solve everything. They are up all over the security systems.
Train event, we rage and give a fuck about a cussing club McKay Hatch. Profanity, I spew it for the fucking loving cause I can. And who the hell is you to try to change a man? Operation Payback, radical Avenger Sanj. Intelligent Israelis with viruses known as Stuxnet. Programming logic controllers and Ruki's subsets. We need to know, trying to feed the homeless. Cops are screaming no, government and corporate sources. We must defeat our foes as freedom goes. They trying to sniff us out and get the ISPs reversing. The cameras on computers, feds are eyeing me. Marine Corps, Brick Bradley, man and naked, the Quantico. Maximum security methods with torches trying to go to Aaron Bar forever. You will walk around with slashes, scar and crash your car. Executives are worshiping the morning star. It is bizarre, the people are the ones oppressing people. When will the day come we recognize as equals? Electronic money from Satoshi Nakamoto. Spending bitcoins on hoes for their photos with no kimonos. Remarkable power, the python is clearing syntax. International Federation of Photo Bin Jack. The script kiddies hack into the mainframe of big cities. YouTube videos for children showing big titties. No pity for the oppressive and get it through your skulls. We were born to change the world, evolving past the hacks for laws.
There are hackers which are fighting for some kind of ideological points and hackers who are just doing illegal activities.
The department goes into certain things and the government goes into certain things. Probably I would put that on the same level as I would someone who goes in and hacks into a site they're not supposed to be on.
The bottom line is, if you have information in a database someplace, consider yourself a potential target.
Expect us. We don't forgive, so don't forget.
Greetings, citizens of the United States and the world. In an age of constant video surveillance, we must remain ever vigilant to ensure our rights to privacy. As drones are becoming more and more commonplace, it is essential that we educate and prepare ourselves.
We are Anonymous. We do not forget. We do not forget. Expectos.
Another drone spotted, you're probably looking for me. These strings are getting tangled, now these puppets looking funny. We die for crooked money, surviving through the culling. And try not to become it, but they lying to the public. They flying right above us, but instead we bow. With these iPads in our face, we stay looking down. Look around and you see these human lives tortured. Have to stay awake till this brutal time's over. Psychotropic drugs, suicide soldiers take their own lives while they choose to die for us. Control us, program us, now the plans to have us looking like James Holmes and Adam Lanza. Cram us in hospitals and give us cancer. Body scan us to scan us, but turn your cameras and get your hands off of me. Bam, you on the canvas. This ain't the answer to the problem that's at hand. We just need to realize we all have a hand in this. You'd be surprised by the power we have, we can't do this. These bankers got a death wish, the fiscal cliff tip, and they blowing their whistles. These whistleblowers, they still whistling. Sandy Hook, camera footage, yeah, it's still missing. And while you over there popping mollies, they kill children. Drone after drone, bomb after bomb, but over here it's clone after clone, job after job.
Expectos.
Yeah, there's no such thing as terrorism. Your brain is the only thing that the terror isn't. America's an embarrassment, but I swear if we come together now, we could all take care of this, cause we share
You are also the only person responsible for your actions. Do what you think is right. Do not what you think is wrong. How many Anonymous are there? We are more than you think. We are more than anybody thinks. We are many. And you are now one of us. Welcome to Anonymous.
This ain't just another echo in the lobby. Trying to move around me, I'm a celestial body. Godly with the flow, and you know where I'll be. In the back screaming out, fuck Illuminati. While I'm at it, fuck the Anunnaki. Fuck a Nazi, fuck a commie, fuck a Ponzi. I'm out here killing it, all that I'm giving up. Constitution was written, Obama just rips it up. Yeah, as if these laws ain't strict enough. They try to blow my spot, but the bombs ain't big enough. Walls ain't big enough, raw ain't real enough. The big bad wolf is back and the straws ain't thick enough. Kicking up dust when I'm getting up. Cause if I'm tripping or I'm slipping, I ain't flipping out with it, man. I'm twisted when I'm switching it. You listen when I'm spitting, but you're missing it. Cause you just sitting and getting a buzz. What?
We are anonymous. We are anonymous. We are anonymous.
We are anonymous. We are anonymous. Expect us. Expect us.
We are anonymous.
We are anonymous. We are anonymous.
We are anonymous.
We are anonymous. We are anonymous. Expect us. Expect us.
We are anonymous.
I refuse to stay here and relay the rest with the sheeples. I'm a dime in a library playing chess with the reaper. Beneath us is a pile of dead professors and teachers. The only thing they taught us was that they can never teach us. And they can never reach us. We too far gone, long beyond the deepest regions. Intelligent creatures, philosophers, the deepest thinkers. We are anonymous. We are legion. We are the peacekeepers, but still fight for freedom. We are the meat eaters, but still fight for vegans. We all here for the same cause, unite the reasons. I've already seen too much blood, my eyes are bleeding. We need to rise up, stand together and rise up. Time's up, we're not trying enough. Gotta get fired up, cause I'll die for a human. Die for my country, die for your rights. And while I'm dying, what you doing?
Dear brothers and sisters, now is the time to open your eyes. There is something terribly wrong with this country. If you have not yet woken up to the reality of the police state we've been warning you about, I hope you realize we are fast running out of time. Together we stand against the injustice of our own government. We are anonymous. We are legion. United as one. Divided by zero. We do not forgive censorship. We do not forget oppression. Expect us.
Expect us. Expect us.
This is it. It's you. It's you. We are the ones. We already know enough. We know what's in there. We know who's controlling it. It's now up to us to help them out there. All right? This is us. You look at the person to the left of you, to the right of you. Look at me. Look at yourself. This is it. We are the ones changing this world. And my phone has been blowing up. My phone has been blowing up from people from other countries sending me pictures of their protests and their demonstrations. And it looks incredible. And the power of all of us united right here, right now. It's me staring at you. Gives me energy to talk right back to you. Do you feel me on this? I love all of you. I love every single one of you. And it is going to be this. This is what it's going to take. Another one of these. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. The revolution is in the streets. It's in your heart. And it's on the internet.
Tabernacle, Black Triangle. Ha. We walk the dirt and the granite and we will survive. Running scared of the masses, now the fear in the rise. We stand ready to fight when the dragon will rise. Till they open up the earth, even black in the skies. Cause we steady coming and we spreading like a plague. See this evil trying to stop us, ain't getting in our way. It's a message to the people in the city full of slaves. Sick of living in the system, they ain't never gonna change.
Grieving, I sense the trouble lurking beneath me. The demons, they're crumbling the earth into pieces. These fuckers trying to burn me for treason. Emergency meeting, cover up and serve for the reason. So we do a rapid crush, turn them into ash and dust.
Darkness, I feel it, it's danger. Panic, I see hidden in the face of a stranger. And distrust in the face of my neighbor. Paranoia spreading through the veins of a traitor. There's no escape from the judgment that's waiting. The hundreds escape in the jungle of mazes. The thunder of rain and the mask on the faces. The heartbeats are racing, the darkness we facing. We emerge from the shadows in the cities asleep. Through the hurt, through the panic, through your living the breed. Sudden surge on the planet, people filling the street. And we can occupy the land of every city you see. Took control of our lives and it keeps in debt. So many lies have been told, too many secrets are kept. And if you ever thought they didn't, you ain't seeing it yet. You need to open up your eyes, start seeing the threat. We've been kept in the cradle while this evil evolved. In the battle for our minds and the key to our soul. Trying to stop us on the rise so they keep us at home. Cause they don't ever wanna see us put their evil on hold. So put the tents down, we in the trench now. Head down, fighting for the cause we represent now. Tear the fence down, waving the flag. We ain't stopping in our track till we brought the whole net down. So we spreading like the venom of a virus. Expect us anonymous, we never will be silenced. Code so encrypted they will never be deciphered. No, you can step forward and test us, try us, arrest us, deny us. You will never stop us, even breathless and lifeless, defenseless and frightened. We finding a way to bring an end to the violence, the lies that define us, and people that pretend to be righteous. So we here standing in defiance and take back the power and triangular alliance. To seek out the teachings that they wrote on papyrus and secrets they stole with the gold of the Mayans. But I know now that no one man is an island. So when you see me coming, I'll be standing with the titans. An army full of warriors, a band full of pirates, a legion of masks and a handful of snipers.
The power force emerging from the darkest of corners, marching with an army of warriors, starting disorder. Arsenal on the bastards that haunt us, marching for paupers, martyrs and torture and orders when we pass in these borders. Hackers and shooters are riding with the mightiest team. Back in computers are grinding through the eyes of the screens. Rappers and looters are fighting all these giant machines, rapidly rioting, fighting all the lies that deceive. Capturing the climate from chemicals released in the air, capturing minds and getting in the sheep with despair. Fracturing spines, I'm severing the beast in the lair. Demons are bare from hell and bring the deepest affairs. Black triangles appearing in the midst of the sky. Scriptures and rhymes and signals that I'm bringing to life. Shimmering lights and pictures that one trip can ignite. Crippled inside, this system is a primitive lie. Black triangle.
I can look into my past, I can see dimmer days. I was stuck in the wake of a 50-foot wave, and I hated everything I couldn't stand for, like a racist bigot and a fruitless war. But today on the news, that's all that we ever hear. What happened to the guarantee of a better year? Promise this, promise that. Do Jack, the money that he spent is never coming back, and now he has the balls to claim world peace. Now tell me what he did besides shear the sheep and ensure that the public stays asleep. The mess that he made, he cannot see, and that's the first page of the first phase. He's getting things in order for the world stage, and if you got a problem with it, hide your name, or use a damn mask just to hide your face. And you can hate on me, but it makes no sense, kinda like Bush did when he took the offense on a nation with nada, without one defense. But I'm not here to judge him, man, I'm here cause I'm pissed.
I'll make our government open and transparent so that anyone can ensure that our business is the people's business. Justice Louis Brandeis once said, sunlight is the greatest disinfectant. And as president, I'm going to make it impossible for congressmen or lobbyists to slip pork barrel projects or corporate welfare into laws when no one's looking, because when I'm president, meetings where laws are written will be more open to the public, no more secrecy. That's a commitment I make to you as president.
Man, why would you live like this? If you had any sense, then you'd be pissed, and you'd be the one to go and join Anonymous, and you'd be the one to take a label of a terrorist. Why would you live like this? If you had any sense, then you'd be pissed, and you'd be the one to go and join Anonymous, and you'd be the one to take a label of a terrorist. Yeah. I swear, this dream's turning into a nightmare. Is anybody out there gonna save us? Guess not. Fuck. Hey. I give up. Man, nothing
nothing that we did was ever good enough. Now to the president, would you please get fucked? You expect all of us to believe your lies? Well, it's not gonna happen when you push that much. And now you want to put a kill switch on the net, a free will press, you can't have that. The followers are everywhere, go ahead and look, man. You're left and you're right and in the damn tube. And you can't speak the truth in this day and age, not without persecution of a smear campaign. But you won't look away from the video games. It's a shame, man, what these people have done. Now what's it gonna take for you to raise a gun and fight for the things that I know you want, like freedom of the press and popular opinion? Yeah, popular opinion. Would you live like this? If you had any sense, then you'd be pissed. And you'd be the one to go and join Anonymous. And you'd be the one to take a label of a terrorist. Why would you live like this? If you had any sense, then you'd be pissed. And you'd be the one to go and join Anonymous. And you'd be the one to take a label of a terrorist.
Should have expected us. This is Bible chapters and final rapture. The psychopath with iron daggers, spinal tap on chiropractor. Destroy Goliath, the voice of giants. Follow rhyming patterns, poison flying, swallow firecrackers. Dying rappers inspire laughter. High imagine and earning my pilot license after my flight to Saturn. But my mind is scattered, spawning life on planets. The science gathered to find time and matter. God's debris sending human being signals, awakening a lucid dreaming. Truthfully, the truth is what these shrooms I ate give you, so you can see these fractal computer screen pixels. Build drones, bitcoins in my billfold. Trench coat criminal tiptoeing down Silk Road. Presidents murk, Kennedy curse. Centuries turn, time went in reverse, penning this verse.
Big black line and shredded documents. Houston proxy service and know they watching us. You know the binary code, you better honor it. Anonymous.
Yeah, it's subliminal, it's in your head. They manipulate you, but what if it isn't indirect? Power's a sickle, ice is slippery when wet. The melted water trickles to a ripple effect. You a pig, I'll pistol whip you and beat you to death. When empty, the clip will eject like the seat in a jet. I grow wings with the dreams in my head. Puppet strings around my neck, controlled by the kings in a deck. I just got a shipment of missiles in from Cuba. It's in the water underneath the mist that's in Bermuda. If I go to prison, I'm a killer with a makeshift fort. Murder the judge the next day at court. My soul leave my pale corpse on a pale horse. Only victims are afraid of war. I take out a naval corps. I fight off the crazy 88 with swords. I ain't playing fucking games no more.
Big black line and shredded documents. Houston proxy service and know they watching us. You know the binary code, you better honor it. Anonymous.
Hello, citizens of the world. We are anonymous.
I am untraceable. No color, no odor, no taste.
Hello, citizens of the world. We are anonymous.
I am untraceable. No color, no odor, no taste.
Anonymous.
They call themselves anonymous. They are hackers on steroids.
The action's been organized by the hacktivist Anonymous Group.
Greetings, friends of the world. This is a song for Illuminati.
If you fight back, watch out.
Illuminati, you've come to take control. You can take my heartbeat, but you can break my soul. We all shall be free.
We will be free. We are anonymous.
Illuminati, you'll never take control. Your new world order will lead to none at all. We all shall be free.
When they established our country, they designed a great seal of the country, and it said, Novus Order Seclorum, a new order. It's on the dollar bill. In case you have a dollar in your pocket, you can take out the Great Seal of the United States. Novus Ordo Seclorum.
It's a plan for the business elites, the political elites, that will cost more American jobs, cost American sovereignty, but it would fulfill the president's father's vision. People better understand that they mean exactly what they're saying. It's a new world order they're trying to create.
Through the vast global economic crisis in the last few years, they have been able to devalue the dollar.
Illuminati, you've come to take control. You can take my heartbeat, but you can break my soul. We all shall be free.
Citizen of the free world. Illuminati, you'll never take control.
Your new world order will lead to none at all. We all shall be free.
Secretive organization known as Anonymous, a loose-knit group of computer hackers who came to the defense of WikiLeaks and got the attention of law enforcement in the process. They are young and stealthy, and they are potential giant killers.
Anonymous hacker activists have basically got together and are exacting revenge for what they see as attacks on WikiLeaks, and they're targeting a number of corporations that have cut off their ties with WikiLeaks.
So they see themselves as protesters. Essentially that the government can't prevent you or I from talking openly. They interpret it much more broadly. They believe that everybody has an inalienable right to say whatever they want on any forum whatsoever.
them out today. This group of computer hackers are apparently threatening cyber war over this WikiLeaks case. What do you know about that?
Yeah, NBC is reporting that Anonymous, it's a group we've heard of before, is threatening new attacks, not only on U.S. corporations, but also on some of the government officials.
Number one story, MasterCard announced Monday it would no longer process payments to WikiLeaks. This morning, internet activists crashed its website. This afternoon, Visa.com crashed. Tonight, Twitter might be next. It suspended an Operation Payback account. A group calling itself Anonymous has been waging Operation Payback for a few months now. The group says it is dedicated to a, quote, anonymous, decentralized movement that fights against censorship and copy wrong.
Well, officials have confirmed that at least 41 Malaysian government websites had been hacked overnight. This follows a threat by hacker group Anonymous to punish the authorities for internet censorship. Officials say that 51 websites were hit and at least 41 of them were disrupted in these attacks.
Targets like HB Gary, a major cybersecurity firm some U.S. government agencies rely on to keep their computers safe. Last month, HB Gary boasted it would expose Anonymous. The response was swift. Anonymous took down their website, stole thousands of emails, and posted them on the internet. The CEO resigned. Anonymous is credited with bringing down government websites in Tunisia, Egypt, and Libya. And now it's made new threats against companies and government officials complicit in what it views as the mistreatment of Bradley Manning, the Army private accused of leaking to WikiLeaks.
Anonymous is powerful enough that it's certainly struck fear into the hearts of some of the biggest technology companies, the biggest companies in the whole world.
Our own Justice Department doesn't take any action against these guys. It's been 3 years since the debacle in Wall Street that caused our economic collapse. And where's Washington? Where's Washington? They haven't done a damn thing. But look, what you're looking at here, in combination of all these things, is a new model on how to fight back. You have to take action into your hands. Direct, peaceful resistance.
We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. You could be in a lot of trouble. Now, people have figured out that you can hit the powerful where it counts in their pocketbooks. The same thing happened in Egypt, where Mubarak only stepped down after the labor strikes began. And then there's the national and international movement against the power establishment. The group Anonymous recently released this video warning the global banking systems.
We are a decentralized, non-violent, resistance movement which seeks to restore the rule of law and fight back against the organized criminal class.
And that's
some comments.
And welcome to Anonymous Bites Back, episode 61. Hold on, I'm having some technical issues. There you go. And sorry for the delay. I was talking in the back. We do have some things to start out with. So there is an article out. I caught it on TechCrunch, which is kind of surprising me because they do have a bot on Facebook Messenger. But they post this link in the story in a positive thing. I think we have it also posted on our page. But that it's nothing new. It's something that we've talked about a bunch of times. That Facebook has been using its algorithm to intentionally bury posts. So what they're claiming as spammers that are doing it and clickbait posts. Ultimately, this is another form of censorship on Facebook. They're putting people. They're not only putting the links in a specific category as clickbait. So essentially they would still be there. They're not deleting them. They're just burying them. So they're not as high priority on your news feeds. But they're also putting people who, according to Adam Mosseri, the VP of Facebook, is also saying that the people who are quote unquote. Let me just quote what he's saying. Okay. So people who are deliberately and who purposely share vast quantity of things, 50 plus posts a day, are very significant outliers. So, what the VP is doing, and I don't know if you've ever, how you have teenage kids or young kids around, that puts your kids in that category as well. Because, I hate to say this, some people are as bad as they are on Twitter, just on Facebook. Like, hey, look, I'm eating a sandwich or this, whatever. Sooner or later, you'll be put in this category as a spammer, and then all of your posts will be deprioritized. Not that you're not saying anything important. But, this is another form of censorship, and I want to start with that.
Cool. Well, it's kind of like Twitter. I mean, Twitter started out, you could only have, 40 characters for a tweet? Well, now we can only message 49 times for the day.
Really? I didn't know that. I didn't know.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I was like, what?
No, like if you're gonna share shit, then like they're saying be picky about what you share, so you're not just sharing a bunch of random shit. But the problem is, there's a bunch of us that are like sharing a bunch of other people's shit too, in addition to our own, which. That's where the problem comes. How are we supposed to get not only the stuff that we found out, but the stuff that everybody else found out too, if we can't share?
Well, essentially, it'll be deemed as a clickbait and be buried in everybody else's newsfeed, so that nobody will be able to find it. That's not necessarily true, but you'll have to dig to find what your friend is posting as well.
Right. So, well, like this is again why I stress it's very important to have multiple Facebook accounts. So you cannot be limited.
Well, as we were talking behind scenes, it's important to cross post on different platforms as well. Not just on Facebook. Twitter, wherever you can. MeWe. God, even fucking Reddit forums are just I haven't used Reddit since I dropped off the darknet, but. There's still people around. Oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about. There's those weird guys who will tell you where everything is at on the dark. Yeah. But still, anyway. But like I've been saying, Facebook is only going to get worse. It's not going to get better. I know our show's on here. We are going to be moving to different platforms very soon. But also, well, yeah. I was going to say, if I had it my way, I would love to see Facebook crash and burn. It was really cool. Go ahead.
We could probably do that. I mean, at this point, Anonymous is the popular kids, so if the popular kids just all went somewhere else, all the fucking lackeys who are trying to say, what Anonymous is, they'd follow. Be like, you're not real Anonymous if you're on Facebook. You can't be on Facebook and be real Anonymous. Just saying.
I mean, I have run into a bunch of anons who don't even have Facebook accounts, but I'll find them in really weird parts of the web. Sometimes I'll find them on Kick servers, on Kick chats.
Yeah.
You'll run into a bunch of hackers and some really dedicated anons. I've ran into a lot on Discord. Not so much on Reddit, but I haven't been looking for any anons on Reddit,
Right.
Twitter, there's a bunch of anons on Twitter.
I mean, I used to spend a lot of time on the internet, and I don't as much anymore because my free time is lacking lately. So I spend as much time as I can out on the street, and then I come here and I get on the internet to try to help out and spread out whatever the fuck's going on. But, like, realistically, if you want change and you don't have any kind of computer skills, it would be more effective to go use the skills you have out in the street. Just saying, people.
Yeah. Kind of like, what was it? God bless their hearts. There was an op called Op Media Blackout, and I'm not going to get too into the details about what they were doing, but they wanted to do it full cyber, right? And I forget what they were going by. God, I think they were going something ghost. Or no. I'm not going to put their names out there because they might actually got the skills now. But it was run by a bunch of kids. I know that. And they said that they made up some weird story when they were going to do what they were going to do. That one of the guys that was that had a lot of the know-how to do the op went homeless, and some weird fucking story. I was just like, well, if you don't know what you're doing, just feel free to ask somebody. It's not that difficult. But stuff like that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's an old saying that the squeaky wheel is the one that gets greased, and saying, if you want something or you want to know something, speak the fuck up, because how are we supposed to know?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it means. Like, if you don't ask, how are we supposed to know you need or want to know or need something?
Reading your mind, right?
Like, the very worst thing we can do is say no. And then you go ask somebody else. Like, the only reason we would say no is lack of time or lack of funding or resources to give what you ask. Generally that, or we just don't like you because you're a two-faced troll, bitch, cunt, whatever. We should cuss more in this show just because Facebook censorship won't appear.
Oh, just say fuck, shit, damn it, all that, right?
Yeah, randomly.
Can you? I don't know.
And we should definitely advertise as family friendly while we're doing it. We're fucking family friendly around here.
Just say fucking family friendly on there. There we go.
You're right.
But one thing, that's kind of off topic that you wanted to cover. Apparently, we are being called anons are being called Nazis by one group.
Yeah, like there was Nazis and pedophile and all kinds of weird shit. Like, and like some of them were specifically talking about our show.
Oh.
And I don't know. I guess it's because we didn't take their side of an argument or whatever. All right, so let's start out with this. Sometimes you're just wrong. Just saying. Like, accept the fact that you might be wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of us do it. Like, I've been wrong a shit ton of times. And when I find out, the right shit that's going on, I'm thankful to whoever showed me the right way. Keep that in mind. It's okay to be wrong.
Yeah.
Nobody knows everything.
I mean, like, how can they verify that any of us are Nazis or anything like that? It's like, did you see the swastika tattooed on his chest? I mean, like, did you see him? Do some weird shit?
Rally was probably in Antifa gear, getting ready to go to a fight. I'm just saying, like, when people stand for something so strongly, like the Nazis do, you can easily manipulate them into fights and shit like that. And if you're easily able to be manipulated into whatever, then we can write whatever narrative we want to on top of it. So you open yourself up for that targeting it as it is.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you know, I'd be.
That was something.
Go ahead.
Like, realistically, we don't have labels. We don't. People need to let go of their labels. You're not this. You are not that. You're either a human being, or you are a brainwashed sheep. That's how it works. You're still accepting labels and divisive tactics. Otherwise, you're a human being. That's the way I feel about it.
Yeah.
I made a post not too long ago. It said maybe racism will end when people stop defining themselves by their skin tone.
What? Wait. Say that again. Please say that again.
Maybe racism will end when people stop defining themselves by their skin tone.
Yeah, that's actually pretty intelligent. Yeah.
I mean, you are not your skin tone. You are not your job. You are not your fucking clothes. Like, people should know, kind of what I'm quoting or playing off of. But, like, you are so much more than a physical appearance.
Yes. I always had a feeling, that, with extreme racism, actually a lot of cases of racism, we're not dealing with, hatred towards another race. I think what what we're dealing with, a lot, other people in the psychology field have even hit on that one, is they're dealing with trauma from a younger age, dealing in certain issues, but a lot of it revolves around trauma. It's some of it can be taught. Some of that
stereotypes too.
Yeah.
Like that feeds into the stereotypes and profiling and shit like that. And like, it exists. I'm not going to say that it doesn't exist, but it only exists as a prison for your mind. That's the only reason it exists. And it's meant to keep you away from other people. It's meant to keep you from not uniting with certain people. And they're doing a wonderful job of spreading that hate and misunderstanding. And I say they because, like, there's activists that do it, and there's fucking government agencies that do it. There's all kinds of people that do it. I personally don't give a shit what skin color you are because I wear a mask and I hang out with other people that wear masks. We speak from behind a picture on a screen here. Like, I could probably edit together something and be blue if I really wanted to. Like, and then once you get racism out of the way, then I think the next biggest thing would be religion. It's either religion or politics. I can't tell which one's a bigger divider right now.
Go ahead.
Let's go with politics because realistically, there are three types of people that have to do with politics. There are the people who don't pay attention to it, and you all are stupid because politics pays attention to you. At some point, they are going to try to come and force you to choose one side or another. That's happening. That's happening now. They're working on it.
Yeah.
So pay attention to politics. You don't have to participate, but you do have to pay attention. And then, you got your extreme left and your extreme right. And people fall in a spectrum between that, and they're all defined by all kinds of different bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, we just lost somebody. Hold on. We just lost somebody. Who did we lose?
Well, they popped up and then they left again. So I think they joined and they were like, wait, I need to go get a cigarette in first, probably. Or a blunt. Well, I mean, some people just can't have these conversations without being really chilled the fuck out first.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, they're triggers for a lot of people. Like it will trigger people into senses like fits of rage, other than words. It's really difficult to piss me off with words. Like it really is. Other than like credible threats to family members and loved ones, I don't think you're going to piss me off with words.
Yeah, I tend to avoid talking politics to some of my friends because even though I follow a lot of it, because some of them are extremely alt-right. If you know what I mean, and I'll be like,
yeah. The biggest debate in the alt-right right now is they're talking about the fucking the Confederate monuments and how they're all coming down and shit like that.
You know, I was actually talking to somebody about that, about the Confederate flag, and how it's implied about slavery and racism, when in actuality, the flag has no real affiliation with that, unless you can correct me on that. No.
All right. So over time, the Civil War and everything got made about slavery, when slavery was actually an afterthought of the war. It did not start the war. That is not why it started. But as human beings, the bigger issue became slavery once that became an issue.
Okay, gotcha.
Because it affected more people. And throughout time, that was the biggest significant change that most people paid attention to, was the ending of slavery. However, if you talk to people and you do your history and your research, there was the states wanted their freedom to govern themselves from a federal government. They wanted their superiority of power over a federal government. However, one of the things that was brought up as an example of that would have been their right to choose whether or not they wanted to allow slavery in their state. The slavery thing became the bigger issue, as an example of.
Well, I know, I just don't see. I mean, to be honest with you, maybe I just think a little bit outside of the box. I just don't. I don't understand how a flag, a Confederate flag, represents racism. It actually got so bad to the point where they were voting on taking it away in certain states. I think they did take it away in certain states.
Yeah, they're still doing it. The problem with that is because all of the supreme racist groups started adopting that flag, the rebel flag.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that, but I'm just saying, statistically,
and thus people don't associate it with what it stood for anymore. People only associate it with pro-slavery or pro-racism. Nobody associates that flag. Man, and that's why they're winning. The government understands this, and the government says, "Oh, you want to get rid of a symbol of rebellion against the government? I'm cool with that." Well, I'm not hearing any arguments for that.
Well, remember, wasn't there that shooting on the East Coast that was related? Where the kid was waving around a Confederate flag, and he shot somebody. Well,
all right. So I'm gonna throw this out there. As much as people are afraid of the extreme alt-right and them being racist and beating the fuck out of people, some of the extreme left are they're just going out and fucking gunning who they consider to be the extreme alt-right, and they're gunning them down and they're killing them for their freedom of speech, which is really fucked up. Once again, any freedom of speech that makes you so pissed off you feel like you need to take the life of another individual makes you a shitty person, and you need to go read some more books.
Yeah.
Just say. We're going to start with that. Go read some more books, go experience all kinds of art and music, and then come back and try again.
But yeah, you were talking about you were talking about taking down the monuments. Yeah, go ahead on elaborate more on that.
Here where I'm at, they're talking about for the monuments because it's still a piece of history. And that's the argument that's being made now, is not to get rid of them, but to move them into basically museum. And I'm like, but that's just gonna make anybody who goes there to see that shit be labeled as a as a racist.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. It's like, hey, you want to go to the Confederate Museum, or the Museum of a Museum of the Civil War, or the Confederate Monument Museum. I don't know. I can see that happening. Yeah.
Right. And so like anybody who goes there is going to be labeled a fucking racist for whatever reason, and they're going to get the shit beat out of them for a while. Like you can see right now, you can see that they're rewriting the Second Amendment in school books.
What?
Like
really?
You can see. Yeah. They're definitely doing. They're now saying that it's okay. It is the right of the American people to bear arms inside of a state militia.
No, I was going to say that's not what it says. It says you have the right to bear arms.
That's not what it says, but that's what they're teaching people. That's what they're teaching children.
Oh, yeah. You know as well as I do,
they
Second
are
Amendment.
rewriting history right now.
I was going to say the Second.
Right, they're rewriting history right now.
Yeah, I was going to say the purpose of the Second Amendment is so that citizens could defend themselves and overthrow an out of control government. That was the purpose of the Second Amendment.
That says we should legally be allowed to own everything our government owns. You want an oak? If you can pay for it, go for it. I think that's the way that's supposed to be worked. Like, you want a helicopter in your front yard? Go for it. You want a tank in your front yard? Go for it.
Well, I think all the
our government has them, and so should we.
I think the regulation of all of the the gun laws that have happened over the years. To be honest with you, it's kind of ridiculous.
Oh, here's one that touches people's in a fun spot. You believe felons who have served their time should regain the right to own arms?
Yes, 100%. They probably need them more than regular people.
Probably, but you notice that like that's not going to be the common consensus when you have that question. Like they're gonna be like, no, those are definitely the people you're not supposed to trust. What?
Well, considering that most felonies within the U.S. are non-violent drug-related crimes, so if you get arrested for, you got a little bit of heroin, you got a heroin problem, meth, crystal, whatever your fucking thing is.
Weed.
Weed, depending on what state you're in. Most of non-violent crimes.
Drink too much.
Yeah, I was going to say most. After that, you are just deemed, because you're a felon, you can't own a firearm.
Or you go to jail for, let's say, somebody was drunk and walked out in front of your car, like around a steep corner. You go to prison for manslaughter because the grievance family demands justice. But it was, a rainy night when somebody drunk stepped out in front of you and you killed them. So now you have to go to jail even though you didn't intend to kill somebody. And now you don't get to own a gun to defend yourself for the rest of your life, or you get all your rights taken away and nobody wants to hire you at a normal job. So you're going to have to find some kind of really fucked up manual labor job that's going to, cause you to go into disability a lot earlier.
I was going to say, welcome to my world, buddy. Welcome to my world. Highly educated.
Well, I'm not, I'm kind of speaking from firsthand experience here.
Same here. I was gonna say I have a couple degrees, failed medical career.
Like I go out into the streets and I fight for other people's rights, but when it comes time to fight for felons to have their equal rights back once they've served their time, like how many of those people that we're fighting for now are going to be out there fighting for felons to have a real fucking second chance? I think none, probably.
We've talked about that, with another one of our panel. He's not here tonight, Preston. He was telling me, what essentially does who really has the legal right to do a criminal background check when it comes to employment, which really isn't a really good. Because essentially we don't.
Now anybody can do a criminal background check.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is when you're looking at people's criminal background, okay, we know as well as I do, being in courtrooms, a lot of it's fucking bullshit, prose, and a lot of people will admit to crimes that just to get a lesser charge. Okay, so it was
shit they didn't even do just because they're scared of getting convicted of something worse.
Yeah. So
they do this, they offer you deals all the time. They offer deals to lesser crimes just to get you to take time because they make money while people are locked up.
Well, yeah, essentially I have a charge on here God, I don't want to get into the details of it, but it made me look like basically made me look like Walter White, you know. And I was just like, okay, all right. So I'll plead to something less.
I read an article not too long ago. There was a prison that sued the state for not keeping their prison full. They sued the state for breach of contract and won millions of dollars from the state.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, it is. That's what our government does. Its job is to lock you up because we have the private prison industry.
That's the private prison industry that's doing that. They have contracts that they sign with the take over, and basically they're guaranteed X number of heads because they make a certain amount of money off of each person who is in the prison. So when they dip down below a certain number of people that they're making money off of per the contract, then they get to sue the state for a breach of contract. So I mean, they're a for-profit prison. Basically, it's not the state itself; it's the contract that they've entered into an agreement with either DO or one of the three, prison systems, because they run it like a company. So,
right, but if they sue the state, who's paying for that? Taxpayers. Just saying.
Taxpayers, of course, yeah, but at the same time,
so you're paying. You're essentially paying to be targeted to be locked up. I want to point that out. Most people are paying to be targeted to be locked up. This is what you pay for.
But the way it's sold to people, it's like, oh well, you want to make sure that there are all these really strict laws because you don't want criminals running around and abducting your children and raping your, you don't want them out there. So
I was going to say the reality of criminals in America. All right, I would say 70%, and this is just from my own. I'm just throwing out numbers from being in and out of institutions. The reality is that I would say about 70% of all people that are incarcerated are nonviolent drug-related crimes.
I think we should start a petition for for an experiment where we dedicate one state to be a law-free zone. Like there are no laws in this state, and we just see what happens.
You mean people would actually get along together?
Right. Like people would voluntarily go to this place where there are no laws.
Well, that you can just simply not recognize the authority that is.
Well, I mean, I do that anyways, but like,
they don't have the right. I mean, when you get down to the actual legality of it, they do not have the right. It's I mean, this is back to with Colin explaining, you're not a driver, you don't need a driver's license unless you're in the employ of somebody who's having you transport something. So you can't get ticketed for not having a driver's license because you're actually traveling. Like it's all in the semantics, like the actual definition of all the words that are in all of these supposed laws, which is actually a code. And if you refuse to follow it, then maybe life would be a little bit better. But the only problem is you have all those people who think they know what they're doing and they're enforcing this bullshit.
That's true.
Anybody who's been to a protest whatsoever knows ultimately that the police officers literally have no idea what the law is. They just follow orders.
Yep. So if they were educated about the fact that they're not actually, like what they're doing is not actually legal, then maybe they wouldn't go along with it. And that's probably why there's this whole push towards hurry up, get the paramilitary contractors in here to take over, because we're going to have a whole bunch of people who are going to turn around and say, wait a minute, no, this isn't legal, this isn't right. We're not going to incarcerate our own neighbors and our own family because they don't do what you tell them to.
Well, I had to go down to the jailhouse last weekend because some friends got locked up at Pride. So I went and, sat and waited for them to get out after we made their bail. But, this out. The legal definition of kidnapping is moving anybody 10 feet without their more than 10 feet without their consent. So that makes all arrests kidnapping. And then if you're paying bond, then technically you're paying a ransom to get somebody out of their kidnappers' clutches. So, I mean, these are the real definitions of this shit. They've just been reworded to make them socially acceptable, so the cops can get away with crimes that they're supposed to enforce other people to not commit. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I mean
the hypocrisy there.
Despite all of that, I mean, like, do you really think that the people, like, for the most part, I'd say like 99% of the cops don't even understand the semantics of it all. They're going along with what they're told to do, and they're not capable of understanding, like, oh,
they follow orders to collect a paycheck.
They don't sit there and think, like, do I have the right to pull someone over? Well, no, they don't think it, because they were given a gun and a badge and told, you go do this. This is your job. Oh my God, there are a lot of fireworks going off right now.
I was gonna say, you're like in the middle of nowhere. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, well, I live in this. I live in the city, and I'm hearing all kinds of pops. I'm like, is it a gun? Is it a firework?
I was gonna say where I'm at, you'd probably be worried. You'd be like, oh fuck, that really is a gun.
I'm not worried. It's just a pop, like every other couple bastard. Just, like, there's gunshots around me all the time. I don't care.
Yeah,
Some
I
things
thought
we
it
grow
was
accustomed to.
live weekend, so it's no big deal. Ouch. Oh yeah, but if you have a really hard time staying on Facebook, like I was driving while you guys were talking about that, but I just wanted to mention, like, you were saying how you need, like, make sure you have as many accounts as possible. One of the things you can do is you can monetize a page. Just put one product up, or even just push an ad on the page, like just as an ad, and just or an event, and you boost that, and then you become a paying customer. So now they won't destroy your they won't take away your they won't take away your profile, they won't take away your page, and then also you get a little bit better in terms of, like, the reach that's generic, or just the natural amount of advertising that you would have gotten is not going to be equal, say, like 6 months ago, but you definitely won't have your stuff, like, shut down, because all they care about now is money.
Well, yeah, so, I do have a couple accounts that are hooked into the White Hat links, and into the web developers things. This one hasn't gone. So, but yeah, you're right. That is where they're moving to.
There were like 3 or 4 people that had a couple problems with keeping their accounts active without having all kinds of stuff happen to them in terms of being censored and Facebook jail. So I just added them as editors to a couple of the pages that I had already put ads onto at one point in time, or advertised events through, and they haven't been messed with since.
I was also going to say that,
that being said, this is the perfect time to interject. There's no such thing as an anon for profit. We do have to fund some of our things, so sometimes we will ask for money, whether it be for bail money, legal defense, etc., etc. So there are things that we do that do require money that sometimes we do ask the community for help from. It doesn't necessarily make us an anon for profit.
Well,
so maybe you should ask some questions before being so quick to label somebody as an anon for profit.
Huh? I was gonna say we actually talked about. We talked about a channel called Anonymous Global that has this viral video about some UFOs, and NASA had a response about it. That wasn't the issue. That they were spitting out some really weird videos, and they're completely alt-right and saying that Anonymous supports Trump, and I was like, okay, whatever. What did disturb me was they had a Patreon page and wanted to get paid to make videos. It was on their Patreon page, $2,000 a month. But I think since they've opened up the Patreon accounts, they've only made $18.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about that one, but in that case, it was like, well, why is this person asking to get paid to make videos? Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. And not only that, he was
copywriting all of his videos as well.
I mean, if you needed help to make videos, you could ask people to help, and if you needed to purchase equipment to do it, then you could say, like, we need donations for that. But I don't understand. Like, why he specifically wanted to be paid to make shitty videos that were full of lies. That was just stupid.
Oh, speaking of stupid videos, there isn't a video going around. It's not viral. The flat Earth, why the flat Earth thing is not going around.
By the way, I just want to say that I love the flat Earth people because you challenge people to think. Yeah, they really do. They challenge people to question what they've been taught, and then they have to. Most people who are arguing with them are arguing points that they've learned, rather than like doing research. And so then they question the stuff that they've been taught and make them go do actual research to prove them wrong. So I love the flat Earth people. Just saying.
I think we had one of them on our show. We had one of them on our show. This was a while back, and I got so frustrated with the guy. Was when we still had the spinning globe for our logo. I got so frustrated that I had to put a picture of the Earth up. Just I don't know.
Yeah, I remember that.
Was it a 3D picture? Because if it wasn't a 3D picture, you're proving his point.
Oh no! It was a zoomed out. It was a zoomed out one with the Earth, and we also had the Earth spinning for a logo. I was just like, well, I've been in high altitude planes. I never have exited that, the atmosphere. But I can definitely tell you, it's art. It definitely is a sphere, bro.
Well, at least a circle. We can't tell the sphere because you just went from one end of the circle.
Well, actually, to be honest, to be technical with you, the Earth is not technically a perfect sphere. It's a little lopsided.
Well, yeah, I know that, but
I was gonna say,
they do amazing things with those movie pictures nowadays.
Some people get into the same argument, with the moon landing and stuff like that, and with several politicians.
There's probably some real legitimacy to some of the fake landings that they've made in different places just to get more funding. I'm just saying, there's probably some legitimacy to that argument.
There actually might be, but I'm just saying that there was a rocket that went up. It did go somewhere. And that's how there was the flag was waving on the moon landing. That one's been debunked. They put a spring into it. There was also another one. Why was when Neil Armstrong was going down the ladder, there was already footprints? And I'm like, well, if you've ever done any show business, they rehearse things. So I'm just saying. Just saying. But some people think otherwise. I can probably go on an hour about the moon landing.
Well, I mean, the cameraman had to go out and get a fucking shot, right?
Well, they probably, knowing Buzz Aldrin, because he argued with NASA to bring, wine up to the moon. So he was probably drinking away up on the moon. So, you got one guy who's like half shit faced up on the moon. Things are bound to happen.
Yeah. Hold my wine, watch this.
What?
Hold my wine, watch this.
Yeah, that's why they call him Buzz. Because he always. I'm serious.
There are people researching that right now to see if that's a real fact or if it's trivia or what.
Yeah, no, he was in the same class of same West Point class as my grandfather.
Cool.
Yeah. Anywho, we have a new guest here. Let me see. Lucy. What's going on, Lucy?
You have to unmute your mic to talk.
Lucy?
Lucy, I'm home.
Maybe. Let me see.
Okay, so maybe Lucy's just kind of like listening to us in the background.
Might be on mute.
Well, her mic's on mute.
Alan?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, hey.
This is Loki. I'm here with Lucy and Alan. We're having a barbecue.
Oh, you guys.
Yeah, this is Anonymous Treasure Valley. We got together.
Diz, aka Lucy.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
So we're having just getting together. I think we're going to try to plan a camp out sometime here this summer. We wanted to talk a little bit about unity and stuff, issues that people are having with our show, you know, that we could be working on, like censorship, ego, stuff like that. And none of us are perfect, you know. I mean, this is it's pretty new. It's raw. We don't really plan too well. We just kind of wing it, get our guests, and have fun. But there's...
Oh, yeah, to be fair, like we talk, what, maybe like 10 minutes before the show? That's not, I don't know. All right, we'll figure it out. This is our process.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
We are unfiltered, raw, uncensored. This is who the fuck we are. Deal with it. Like, we're going to talk about everything.
Yes, it is, Dave.
Oh, man, I pissed you off tonight.
And that's basically what it is. You know, we try to respect everybody's viewpoints. We're,
well, I don't.
And that's your personal opinion, and we try to be respectful to each other, and you are. We all are. So there's been some issues with censorship. I don't know exactly where that's happening, like who's censoring who, but everybody has the right to speak. Anybody that, you know, wants to comment on our videos or whatever. So yeah, they've been muted or blocked or whatever, and we're trying to work those bugs out. You know, like I said, we're still working on things. Can't be censoring people; it's against creed. So,
truth. I don't censor anybody. Please come tell me why you're wrong.
Right, exactly. There's been people that have commented about egos, you know, and sometimes I see that too. I mean, your ego in check when you're an actor.
Especially when you're a god.
Go ahead, sorry.
It's hard to keep your ego in check, especially when you're of the understanding you're a god.
Yeah, that's messed up. But I don't think a lot of us think like that. But I do see.
We all should.
Why is that?
Because we are all gods in our own rights.
All right, well that's agreeable. But bragging and stuff, you know, I'm just trying to associate with our viewers and stuff a little bit and deal with some of the issues that they brought up. So it's hard not to sometimes. And like I said, we don't really plan this stuff that well. It's pretty much spur of the moment. Sometimes we get a little carried away.
I was gonna say, you know, some of the shows have been ultra planned, but a lot of them are just kind of like since the beginning, just kind of thrown around.
Yeah, and that's something we're working on. You know, I mean, input from the audience is obviously critical. Our viewers and stuff like that. Any advice that they have, of course, we're going to listen and do a better job because it's not for us. It's to spread information. You know, even though it's pretty much a talk show and stuff, to share information, share unity, and have some lulls. You know.
Yeah, well, not just that. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody here will pretty much talk about anything. So literally, like, if you want us to talk about anything, fucking send me a message. I'll bring it up. I don't give a shit.
Yep, do that a lot. We get a lot of messages from the audience, and we'll try to get in there and start talking about it and stuff if there's time. There's been shows where there hasn't been any time because people just want to talk, but we do our best. You know, we're not perfect, but we are all family. We're all working
We should do
towards
an entire show on the necessity of trolling.
That would be a good show. Good show.
Yeah, I was gonna say actually people who talk shit on trolls, that's kind of that's our roots though. You know?
That's who we are. We haven't changed.
Yeah. And there's pretty good use for trolls, you know? I mean, there's a good trolling and there's a bad trolling. Like talking shit and attacking and stuff, that's not good.
I wouldn't say good and bad. I would say useful and not useful.
All right, that's fair enough. There is definitely a use for trolls, and we love our trolls. You know, I mean, you got some bad, nasty people out there, some bad, nasty corporations and stuff, and with them a little bit, trolling them. You know, I mean, we can mess with people's heads and stuff, and that's great as long as we're doing it. But trolling each other and attacking each other and censoring each other, it's just got to stop. And I see that all across the board. It's not just Anonymous. It's every movement, every group. Yeah, it's ridiculous, and it really needs to stop. How's everybody doing tonight?
Me, I'm doing okay. We're having some issues with one of my co-hosts.
That happens. Like I said, we can't all get together and get along all the time. Nobody can see eye to eye all the time. But what's important is overlook personal issues or personal differences or personal beliefs, and we work together for what's important, like we're supposed to be doing. Otherwise, we're just wasting time.
Yeah.
So, a little bit about local activism and stuff, because you can do a lot online, but really what's important is working in your community to make a difference, getting to know other members of your community and working together to get to know each other and do stuff. So, like I said, we're having a little barbecue right now. We're working on a camp out, maybe with some workshops and stuff.
Well, actually, St. Louis is rated like it's in one of the top 10 places to celebrate 4th of July. The activists here are actively going down to all the party hangouts and speaking about exactly how corrupt the cops here are, and the fact that, you know, they No Knock Raid executed another young individual a couple weeks ago. And like No Knock Raid, they fired like 120 rounds and executed the shit out of him for no reason. Like the dude was surrendering and still got executed. So they're going down there to educate people about how fucked up the cops in St. Louis are.
Hey,
which I think is amazing.
I didn't hear about that. I don't think anybody here at this table did. Can you give us some facts and information on that?
Yeah, give me a second. I'll look it up.
Thank you.
Because I don't have it all off the top of my head.
While you're looking that up, I'm not a big fan of police myself, but I do know some that are really good people. And I want to stress again, I've said before, it's important to hold people personally accountable. You know, there's bad people everywhere. There's bad police. There's bad people claiming to be anonymous. There's bad whatever. But there's also good ones. And I think personal accountability is pretty critical. I'm not going to say all the police are bad and whatever. I think the people that are doing the wrong things and making the wrong decisions, and especially if they're taking lives or harming other people, personally accountable.
All
What
right,
you got?
so the flyer going around, justice for Isaiah. Isaiah Vinnie Hammett was executed in his home after surrendering to the St. Louis SWAT team during a no-knock raid. Every lie will be exposed. Every will be answered. Every night will lack peace as long as there's no justice. Take to the streets with us to put an end to this crooked cover-up. Saturday, July 1st at 10 p.m., Washington Avenue and 6th Street, where they will be gathering tonight. Oh, in like 10 minutes. Get there. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. I'm trying to find the backstory to it. That's what's going on about it right now. Still screaming "fuck police" for Isaiah. Yeah, I got live video of them, on the streets for it.
Of the cops?
No. The activists since it happened.
Oh, okay. Alan, where are you? Oh, I don't think he realizes his mic is mute. Oh, okay. I think everybody's muted. I am having some technical errors in the background. Hold on 1 second. Anybody?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Of course, I'm definitely not hitting the mute button or anything like that. I'm not going in and out because fuck these technical difficulties. I will stay live for it.
Yeah, so as far as you were talking about some things getting shipped to North Korea.
Oh yeah. So there was that. Okay, so for all the people who are paying attention to politics, and we all who have been paying attention long enough realize politics is bullshit and distraction, but they do instill like real guidelines to further oppress us. For us supposedly not getting along with North Korea, something that came through my company's warehouse. It was they picked up a package at the Fort Leonard Wood military base, and the final destination for it through a different company was North Korea.
And what was it? Robotics? Robotics parts?
Yeah, it was totally robotics part was the description of the package. So as long as we're saying we got bombs under the table, we're sliding robotics parts to them. So, but you're not going to hear about that.
When they claim that everybody's the enemy, but yet we're all behind the back ends, buddy with each other. Sounds about right. Not to say that he's not a psychopath, but I've always had a common thought that when they say that he has full nuclear capabilities, I always thought it was bullshit because anything he's detonated hasn't really been weapons grade plutonium. It's always been like hydrogen. And I'm not saying that that's not like really damaging. I mean, like it can't cause any damage, but what I'm saying is that they always overhype what he has, and I think that's always been his front.
June 28th, comrades were locked down in Iowa today to bring attention to drones killing people in America. This is how locals feel about it.
What?
No more drones. Drones kill, and America is pushing the button. This is not Call of Duty. This is real lives. I mean, like, if you read the comments from the live video from it, it's all the same bullshit of grow up, get a job, get a haircut, shit like that.
Drones
Like,
killing
nobody pays attention.
drones killing people. What? What are they, like, strapping machine guns to them? I mean, I know you could probably could.
I guess people haven't realized that there's a secret war going on against the citizens. Right now, they're just picking off the people they can get away with it on.
Yeah.
So, but most people haven't picked that up yet because I guess they just don't fall into the category of having to worry about it yet. Oh yeah. So this pissed me off. I just want to say that this really pissed me off, and I don't know why it pissed me off, but it did. In New York, they had a bunch of fucking vehicles redone, repainted with rainbow stuff for Pride. So now they have Pride police. As funny as that sounds, like the corporatization of Pride, something that was in your face, we're gay, you're going to have to accept us, has become a corporate entity at this point.
Of course it has. It's more, I mean, if you want, if you're gay, LGBT, whatever, transsexual, God bless you. But, I saw stuff like this, coming a mile away,
Right.
I have a lot of friends in the LGBT community, and what Pride was and what it has become are like two different fucking things.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I remember hearing, God, from back home, I think that they were voting on the bathrooms, right? So now you can you can self-identify. Now I got corrected at it at work because I was working in a place where you had to be kind of up on the politics of the LGBT community, and so like in my reports I had to say like they self-identify the gender of quote, so I guess you can self-identify what gender you are and go to what bathroom you want to go to. That's old news though, right?
Yeah. So much stuff is going on.
What?
And just like, okay, so the area that I'm at, there's literally a different action basically every night. Every night there's something going on.
Yeah.
And like, if you're an activist, this is definitely a city you can come to and never be bored.
That's outstanding. Portland is a lot like that too, but again, what I see in most places is a lot of division among people that are supposed to be working towards the same things.
Oh yeah.
Hold on.
The rainbow.
Having issues with the back end.
Yeah, but we can't be doing that. We can't be doing that. Like, of us are standing towards the same things and wanting to fight towards the same things, freedom and, love and. But
right, so there's been this thing where like I don't know, the left has been doing this, and there's been this like string of check each other's privilege type stuff going on, and I'm like, why are you trying to oppress anybody for any reason whatsoever? It's not about checking privileges, it's about giving other people the same privileges we have. Don't check your privilege, make sure everybody else has the same privilege.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about there. Exactly. We won't name any names or anything, but that's a little bit disturbing. Another thing that I'm seeing as being really disturbing, there's the Rainbow Family gathering over in Oregon right now. They've been doing it since the 70s, and we're looking at anywhere from like 20 to 90,000 people. Every year they find a national and go get together and stuff. This year they're doing it over by Burns, where that armed standoff.
Oh, fun.
about a year ago. So what I've been seeing, which is really disturbing, is a lot of these people that are claiming to be patriots or standing for freedom and talking a bunch of shit to these guys because they're hippies or whatever. And then the Rainbow family is sitting there talking a bunch of shit about occupiers that were over in Bern. Really fundamentally, everybody's kind of standing for the same things. They're standing for freedom and love and, stuff like that. But they're so hung up on their own personal groups or their own personal ideas that they're not seeing that they really want the same things. And instead they're sitting there talking shit and fighting against one another, which is counterproductive. It's divide and conquer, and it's sick.
Well,
it's the same. Go ahead. Sorry.
Once somebody has established a group or a side or something like that, there's a line that is being put into the sand, whether people realize this or not, and it causes a division. All right. So that division, it comes from lack of understanding, in my opinion. It comes from lack of understanding the other side, the other perspective. There's no good and bad. There's only perspective of good and bad. What I see as good, somebody else might see as fucking evil. For example, let's go ahead and piss some people off. You guys down for this?
Mm-hmm.
Reasons why Anonymous supports Donald Trump. Reason number one. One of the executive orders he signed did sign us out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Nobody paid attention to this or how monumental of a good thing this was. Nobody even talked about it because they were still too pissed off saying Trump shouldn't be president because he's a fascist. But I think it's, personally, I'd rather have Trump than a career politician. I mean... Trump is not a career politician. He doesn't give a shit about pissing people off.
As I have said, I really don't think who you have in office, I'm one of those kind of people, you would get the same results. Because
exactly, it doesn't matter who's there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
John, we're just having this conversation earlier. Exactly the same.
Reason number two why Anonymous supports Donald Trump in the office is that it proves that it doesn't matter who the fuck is in that office.
Yeah, they're not the ones pulling the strings,
Right.
Well, I mean, there's good examples of this, that they're all working for each other. Back, here's a good example. Back when Obamacare was going to come out. There was another one called Romney Care, and it didn't matter who the fuck you voted into office. You were gonna get state issued or federally issued health care, no matter what you no matter from the left to the right. It doesn't matter who you voted for, they're both sides of the same coin, and when you ain't looking, they're both working for each other,
Oh, definitely.
It's all a charade. It's all a charade.
Yeah. That's exactly it. And too many people don't being played against one another.
Yeah.
Well, all right, so
whether it's just ignorant. Go ahead, brother.
Let's take a step back. I was just talking about perspective, and it's very important to understand. So I understand the perspective of somebody who's just awakening to all this shit, and you're pissed off, and you want vengeance, and you just want to know who the fuck to hit. And you listen to the very first person who gives you a direction and somebody that you can hit. Go look for a Nazi, hit a Nazi. So you spend your life, you spend the next, several months going to try to find a fucking Nazi to punch in the face just to get that anger out. I understand this. Solve anything. It feels good. It feels great, and it might teach that Nazi a lesson. Maybe.
Well, I would tell you who to exactly go after. You would go after the people who own the banks. The bankers are always.
Well, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
destroying the property of the banks, however, is seen as an extreme action, and it's not something that Anonymous stands for, even though that's exactly something that we stand for.
It's against Creed, so we can't.
Bullshit.
We're
We can
not
totally
supposed-
destroy corporate property. Totally.
I'm just gonna watch what I'm saying here.
We can destroy corporate property. All right. So there was a debate that I had. Is property a real thing, or is it a construct of our mind, just so that we can try to understand somebody else's perspective? Is there such a thing as property?
It's actually no, but men inherently by nature are territorial. So, but as far as men might think, without any culture or anything, they might think that this is theirs or this is that. But as far as property, no, that is made up, though.
Okay, so who here owns a bank?
Not I said that.
Nobody?
Not I said
So
that.
would anybody have a problem if I lit a bank on fire? Would you guys not be my friends if I lit a bank on fire?
Probably not.
No. Okay, then it's totally cool to light a bank on fire.
Well, actually, technically, it would
Just
be,
saying,
it would technically because it has investors and publicly traded companies. It is community property. Just saying, they might have a CEO, they might have somebody on the top, but it is community property. Did I just lose everybody?
No, we're still here.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still here.
Loki?
Oh.
You got all quiet.
No, I'm sorry. We're so busy here, and we're like kind of in and out. I do apologize.
Yeah.
I think doing the event at the same time as a talk show or whatever was kind of not maybe the best idea. I just wanted to say that I feel that some of the views that you just said, I heard most of it, but I think you're kind of steering more towards a black bloc point of view as opposed to Anonymous. Like, I don't think it's all what Gabe was trying to point out is that, more nonviolent protest and black bloc tactics isn't what all of us do. We don't. Overall,
True.
that's not.
But there's something that I've been stating here lately. We have demands with no or else, and if we don't have an or else, then why the fuck would they listen to us?
That's true. I do understand that.
Black bloc just reminds them that we have an or else.
Yeah, same with our hacktivists. That's also an or else. Which brings us back to accountability is vital in the progression of our revolution.
All right, so I finally found the layout story for the Isaiah Hammett. The mother is the activists here are trying to raise $3,600 for a mom to get a forensic investigation after city cops murdered her 21-year-old unarmed son Isaiah Hammett in his home. A no-knock shoot-first SWAT raid. I don't know if anyone you have have touched with can help. He was shot with a huge salvo captured on video, audio by a neighbor, after complying with demands in his last seconds of life and pleading for the SWAT to stop. They even pumped him with more rounds on the ground at South Kings Highway, Beeville Mills area, a cop neighborhood. The media simply printed police claims without fact-checking them, which led to severe errors. The police claimed he had an AK and fired on them first. They claimed he had surveillance cameras. He was watching them through as they came. They claimed to have a warrant for gun running and drug dealing, which they only produced 4 to 5 hours after killing him. The AK was his legally registered firearm, as were the other guns confiscated from his grandfather, who is a Purple Heart disabled veteran. And not only that, the spring did not even work and the gun cannot be loaded. It was, in fact, packed in that box to go to the shop. The camera is visibly disconnected and has no system, a fake broken piece of junk tacked up to scare intruders. The warrant was delivered unsealed and was printed, so there was no physically written signature, which apparently the DIA said means it is not real. None of the guns the police took were illegal. All were owned by the grandfather and registered. They found little to no quantity of weed in the house. Meanwhile, what they did was they busted in the door and began shooting through his bedroom door. Shots went straight through and even shattered his bedroom window. He was likely asleep in bed and he got up. Blood was found in his room. He then ran to roll his disabled grandfather, missing a leg, out of bed in a back room. His grandfather said, "Isaiah, who's shooting?" He said, "I don't know, Grandpa. I love you. Stay down." Video footage was taken by a neighbor, shows the SWAT at that point began to run back and regroup for another charge at the house. The footage then captures Isaiah screaming while he stopped as the SWAT is shooting inside. They shout, "Get in there." It appears he says, "Yes, sir," possibly mistaking their order to their team to enter further in for an order to him to comply. Further shots are heard and muffled screaming. They pumped 5 more rounds into him as he lay dying on the floor of his living room to put powder burns on him so they could attempt to claim he had fired on him despite his lack of weapon.
All this over a couple
Furthermore,
grams, all this over a couple grams of weed.
Furthermore, every bullet hole in the house suggests that they not only shot in through the bedroom door and shattered the window, but went around shooting from all sides through the walls of his bedroom, aiming at the bed. It's unclear why this happened. No bullet holes in the house support the concept that he fired a single shot, nor are there any bullet holes large enough to be left by an AK. The city inspector was there instantly, so while the crime tape was still up and his remains were spattered on the walls and his blood a massive pool on the floor, he went to inspect the house and write down all the damage caused by cops. Within 10 days, or the house would be condemned. This notice was given to the family 4 hours after the shooting. That's why everyone is trying to hurry and raise money for the house to be forensically evaluated. The city had 30 cars lined up and threatened protesters at the house that they would come in with chemical munitions and arrest people. And this just happened the previous Tuesday night of the Tuesday before June 15th. I don't know. I'm going to pull out the calendar. I'm going to go back down to where I was reading.
Where did this happen again? Where exactly?
In St. Louis City.
St. Louis City.
I
think I heard about this.
Yeah, the south side of St. Louis City.
It's horrible.
Yeah. Mayor Kirsten collaborating to condemn the House, and the Governor Greeton's making misleading claims on Facebook about the incident, which makes it with a separate event in Kansas City, and of course, repeat untrue police claims. It seems like everyone, including the media, is aligned from the top down to suppress word of this murder from hitting the national news, let alone justice being done. So that is why people are now, for the last 15 minutes, down at 6th Street, screaming for justice for Isaiah.
I'm not seeing anything in St. Louis. I'm seeing white officer shoots black colleague, teen shot. Wait, two men wounded in North City shooting. Not seeing that. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on
No, this would have been Bevo Mills area.
Okay, I was trying to type, but I can't. And there's a lot of talking here, so I'm moving away from the group so you guys can actually hear me. See what we're discussing. That's the need for accountability. We cannot turn a blind eye to these things. All of us need to play our, start writing officials, start protesting, start doing stand-ins, start, spreading news about these things like as much as we can. Mass media outlets are not going to cover this. We need to. We're the ones. We're the awakened. We need to be the ones to keep this in public eye. That's our responsibility.
Absolutely. That's kind of why we're here.
I was gonna say I'm surprised I didn't hear about this. Not one bit.
Well, like this was only a couple weeks old, the incident, and the problem is once again, like we were talking about the algorithm and censorship and stuff earlier of all that crap being, suppressed. Like, I'm going to share this post. Everything that I just read, I'm going to share it right now, and like it's going to be the very top thing on me. There's a GoFundMe and everything else. For them to try to get that forensic investigator. I'm not I am going to get in touch with the people that were there tonight, and I'll keep people updated to let you know whether or not they got the house ready, or whether or not it became condemned. But either way, that's a bunch of bullshit. I mean, the cops go shoot up the place, and then hey, you got 10 minutes to get all this. You got 10 days to get all this shit fixed that we just destroyed. Otherwise, we're condemning your house too. I'm just saying that's insult to injury type of shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I'm not a Facebook bound anon anymore, so I'm not seeing that. I'm just surprised nobody told me about this. So I mean, I didn't show up in my Twitter feeds or anything like that.
All right, so I shared it, and it's not even on my page right now.
Are you serious? Did it get buried?
I'm serious. I shared it. It's
Big surprise. Surprise. I get censored all the time, too. My stuff, the algorithm, I think it just takes keywords and just blocks it out. And sometimes it'll say that it posted, and then literally, like, within an hour, it'll disappear.
Right. I went to my activity post. It says I totally posted it. So I'm going to go to the post again and try to do this again.
I've always come down to this, and a lot of people don't agree with me on this. Is that why should we have why should we have heavily armed police? I mean, or even armed police. I'm being deadly serious. You hear about all of these, we're going to bring this up in another show. We'll bring it up again. With police involved shootings, it's almost as though, and I hate to say this, is that, police officers are 100% incompetent to hold their weapons.
In America, especially, like I'm seeing videos of police officers in different countries.
I have a video. Go ahead.
Like they're solving situations where the citizen or whatever is armed and they're not, and they're just solving it with words. And I saw one the other day. A guy walked into a police station with a knife, and the officer walked around the table and sat down and just talked to him for a minute. And the guy handed over the knife and gave him a hug, and like they started talking and everything else, and everything tended and was cool. He was just really like depressed and strung out from a bunch of shit that happened to him. Like I see this happening in other countries.
Yeah,
in America, that dude would have been shot and killed.
Well,
like
that would have happened. You know what I've been saying is that the way that the legal system deals with a lot of these cases is almost as though they don't always turn a blind eye until you make a big shit about it. But they have internal reviews and stuff like that. They'll put them on leave duty, But I'm saying is that police officers, I mean, if we have to live in this kind of society, the laws should probably change to the point where they should be scared to fucking fire that gun because they don't know what the consequences of it will be afterwards. Including criminal charges or whatever. But that's just not the way that things are going to work out. I just see I have this one video. No, I don't have it anymore. But there's this guy. He's walking out of a liquor store. Obviously, did nothing wrong. They found out that he wasn't the guy that they were looking for. He had headphones in his ears, right? And the officer's screaming at him and flat out shoots him in the back and kills him. I don't know if he hit an organ or whatever. But the guy was.
I think I read this too. Like he was mentally disturbed and missing, and went for a walk. And his family are the one that called the cops.
Yeah, he's dead.
Like,
yeah, he's dead. He had headphones, and the officer's screaming, get down on the ground. The guy. It didn't even. Not even 2 seconds later, the guy's dead. He didn't even hear him.
Right.
A lot of the police officers now are doing training operations on based on that one video where they had the disturbed PTSD. That's why they do a lot of this stuff where they tell them to holster their weapon or whatever the hell they do because of this. You remember the incident where there was a guy who had PTSD, an ex. I don't know if he was a Vietnam or Iraqi veteran, where he pulls out a Steyr and starts shooting a cop.
No, I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah. That was for recent for a lot of shit. He just went, he's waving around a Steyr, saying, "Hey, look, I'm a cop. Look, I'm pulling the gun." Well, just waving around. The cop does nothing. But there's also been an incident where a cop was fired. I was hearing about this on, I believe it was RT, where a police officer, there was a guy in the hood, and he pulled him. They pulled him over. There was 3 officers there. He was waving a gun. And the officer that did not shoot him on purpose because of the way he was talking, and on the interviews he was saying that he felt that he was waving it because it was what he said. He says you might as well, he was telling the guy to put the gun down, and he was saying something like, "You might as well." The suspect was telling him, "You might as well just kill me." And the 2 other cops shot him upon investigation. It was a non-functional gun, no bullets, and he was saying that the reason he didn't shoot is because he called his bluff and knew it was a suicide attempt. He got discharged for failing to do his duty. But I'm just like, well, if so now it's, I don't know. There's a lawyer that's going after this case as well. So, I just believe that many officers that hold guns are just completely incompetent, shoot first and ask questions later, or just react and don't know what to do. That's why I just believe, without a doubt that lethal deterrence should be taken away from officers indefinitely. I'm sorry. If it has to result to officers using non-lethal ways to take down a suspect, then that's the way it has to be. But I don't think anybody will see eye to eye on that.
Realistically, right, so all cops are bastards because they don't shoot.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this. Yeah, I know where you're going with this. Just go ahead, go with the flow.
Right, they have chosen to follow orders and enforce laws regardless of their morality, if they're right or wrong. They have sworn to enforce laws that are downright oppressive and torturous to other people. Therefore, all cops are bastards because they willingly accepted an occupation where they have to swear to do these horrible things to people.
Mm-hmm.
So that whole theory, there's a good cop. Well, that good cop that you're sticking up for swore to do horrible things to people if they were so ordered to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want you to keep that in mind before you argue for the cops. There are other professions you could choose to help people.
Yeah, 100%. Hold on, we're having a hiccup on the internet. A hiccup, major hiccup. Hold on, are we back up?
I don't know. I said all cops are bastards, and we got censored.
No, I'm using a. I'm using
a known error. I can't type anything, and the message stream. I'm trying to keep up with it. I wanted to say that I agreed with George Lennox on balance. Yeah, I can't even comment. It won't let me.
John, did we lose you?
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what that was in the background. I was like, what the hell? No, I'm not saying that I'm defending officers, but we do have to live in this society. But yeah, I totally agree with you. That they are defending unjust laws, and I think I hate to say this. At one point, I wanted to be a police officer, so I did get involved in some of those classes. But I was also in the beginning phase of my the process of my addiction, and I think the final clause was me dropping out of it. I had this argument with the officer that was training the class, and they were saying, drugs. They were learning all about the drug laws and the DEA and the scheduling of narcotics and stuff like that. And they had an undercover cop, come and talk to us. Basically what he was saying is, like, at least I was saying, is that the cops were also honeypotting addicts, and that's the way I was seeing it. And essentially, I asked a really weird question, in the class, and I was asking, why are they illegal? And she gave me the standard textbook answer about why these narcotics were illegal. But then I said, well, who decided that? And they were just left dumbfounded. So I totally agree with you that I don't believe that they know what they're doing. I really don't, or why things are the way they are.
They definitely don't.
They don't.
All right, so here's another weird thing that I've run into over the last little bit. There are other people who agree with everything that we just said right here, who didn't come up and ask me about a police officer or this or that. I'd tell them the truth. With children, I might make it a little less harsh for them, but I am truthful with them. And the parents, they know who I am, they know what I do, they've agreed and participated in some of the things as well. They come to me and they're like, I'm trying to teach my child not to be afraid of cops. I'm like, isn't that the exact opposite of what the fuck you should be doing? They're murdering people for nothing. You should be teaching your children to be afraid of cops. Common sense says we live in a day and age where cops can kill people literally for any reason or no reason and get away with it.
Well, all you need
your children to be afraid of cops.
Well, all you essentially need is to have an object in your hand and not drop it upon compliance to an officer.
You don't need an object. They will provide that object after you are dead.
Yes, there has been a lot of cases where they've done that. They're planting handguns. Yes, 100%.
Especially if they don't see anybody filming. So when you're filming cops, make sure to do it in secret so we can really see what's going on.
Yeah,
get some high-powered cameras.
Well, another amazing statistic is that the enforced body cams on police officers, which was supposed to help with accountability, but all of a sudden they start malfunctioning, at the right times.
Well, not just that, but the rise of fucking cops brutalizing people. We're seeing more videos of it, and sometimes you see it from the fucking cop cams, and you're like, great, so now we get to watch them brutalize people from a different angle. It didn't change anything.
I think we should be finding cops who turn off their body cams, and I also think that if one of their dash cams or their body cams malfunctions, then we should be suing the departments because, they get all this funding to have the best of the best, and, they should be held accountable for that as well. Because
I think that if a citizen or an activist sees an unlawful arrest taking place, we should defend the person that they are trying to kidnap. This has been done. This has been done before, to points of individuals taking a police officer's life. Decided that the individuals were in the right. So, I mean, maybe if we caught the police, they aren't really badass. Maybe, just maybe, they'd start thinking about their actions a little bit more. I mean, immediate consequences do tend to make people think twice. And yes, I did just advocate for violence against police officers who are doing things illegally. Know that they're doing them illegally. Be smart about it.
Well, yeah, we've had, even, Colin, inform us of things that police officers do all the time that is 100% out of 100% illegal, such as pulling you over and using. I wasn't even aware of this. When a police officer pulls you over and uses the emergency lights, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's already committed a felony because it is not an emergency situation.
Right.
Yeah. DUI checks 100% illegal. You can find tons of videos over there. Yeah.
How many times have you guys seen them turn the emergency lights on just to go through a red light, turn them off, and just keep driving like normal? I've seen this all the time here.
All the time. I'm out there on the road with right now I'm in I'm a paid driver right now, so I see it all the time.
Convenient, huh?
Yeah, convenient. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Carry your shit.
I was gonna say, actually, when you're a paid driver, you actually get fucked around with the police a little bit less, though. But when they come in, they inspect everything. So
while you're working,
what?
While you're working, you fuck with us.
Yeah.
Only while you're working.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's illegal. DUI checks are 100% illegal.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I said, that's entrapment. Completely illegal.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're under the false. They're also under the false assumption that. Statistically, during, you see a lot of DUI checks on, during holidays and events and places like this. But to be honest with you, to have a stop point where you would drive through and you would have to come out and talk to an officer is 100% illegal. Let me see. I don't wonder if I have any of those videos. I do not. But there's a bunch of videos going around on what you should say when you get stopped in one of these DUI checkpoints, though.
The first thing you should do is say, "Go the fuck away."
No, there's this one guy. That says, he says, "I don't." God, he just repeats the same thing over and over again, but he also fails to.
Well, I don't answer questions.
yeah. That's what he says. I think that's what he says. I don't answer questions. I think that's exactly. That's. What
I don't answer questions. Am I free to go?
Yeah, and then he.
Am I being?
Yeah, then he has to talk to their supervisor. I think that was the next step. So.
I actually read something. It was a lawyer's advice, and it said as soon as a cop stops you, whether you know it or not, you are automatically at that point to be detained or under arrest, depending on which state or conjunction you are in.
Sorry, say that again.
What county you're in.
Say that again.
The minute a cop stops you, in some places that is considered to be you're automatically detained or under arrest as soon as the cop starts asking you questions. So that's why it's really important. Am I being detained?
Oh yeah, I've had that argument with cops before as well. And they won't. A lot of them, they won't answer. They won't answer you until you're in the car and tell you what exactly it's all about. And I'm like, well, what kind of fucking America do I live in? Well, I guess this is the reality. We live in Napoleon.
You know what I like to say?
It's called
Your
Napoleon.
badge is going to be good at my collection of people I've gotten fired.
No, it's what we live in. It's called Napoleonic law. You're not innocent until proven guilty. I mean, that's how it's written. That's how it's written. Which is the opposite.
That is not the case.
That's not how they're enforced.
The
how they're enforced is called Napoleonic law, where you're guilty until proven innocent, and that's how they're enforced.
Well, not just that, but like if you're not guilty of anything, they'll find something.
Oh yeah.
Or they'll plant something.
Yeah.
Like all right. So there's been all right, everybody knows what happened in Ferguson, right? With all like Ferguson really had a new eruption for like the activist community. It was a resurgence of against tyranny and oppression.
Yes.
For activists like across the nation, across the globe, even like something strange that has been happening is some of the prominent, well-known activists that were in Ferguson have been found dead alone in their cars. Supposedly, they committed suicide, but they have 2 gunshot holes to the back of their head. Or 2, not gunshot. 2 shots fired to the back of their head.
Obviously not
and this
suicide.
is supposedly a suicide. Yeah, this is supposedly a suicide, being ruled suicide. There's like 5 of them now, 5 or 6 of them now. This is happening. They are targeting activists in their off time. Just saying.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Nothing.
So, why be anonymous? So you don't get killed for standing up for the truth.
Right. It does have its benefit.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing.
Hey guys, I hate to interject on a personal note, but my phone is dying, and I don't know where all the other anons went because I walked off so I could hear you guys without an echo and actually partake and really engage in this conversation. And now that I've returned back to our event spot, being an absence. There's a phone.
Weird things that I've come across lately with different activists is when they introduce themselves to me, and I'm supposed to give them a name, and I'm not quite sure which name to give them anymore.
Well, I think your picture spells it out. Fuck you.
Well, I asked them, well, what's up? Maybe the most. That social media platform.
I'm getting some internet hiccups.
That's just a weird experience.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
All right. Let me see if my internet will balance out. All right, it balanced out. Okay, I'm using a borrowed access point. But with borrowed. Borrowed.
What a friend.
Borrowed.
What a friend.
Yeah. It's borrowed. But that was another thing for a future show was to get some people, especially when you get the white officer. I don't want to put the labels on here, but you get the white officer with the black suspect shootings. I wanted to get some more guests on that. Apparently, since I have been off the Facebook grid, this has been popping up a lot in people's Facebook feeds.
I don't know. There's something weird, but I kind of want to invite the opposition onto the show somehow. So that they like, I don't want to just blindly attack them. I really want them to have a chance to state their point of views so that we can debate with them healthily and safely. So people can kind of learn what we have to go through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I know what.
All right, so have any of you been assaulted by the bike cops? Because that's the thing here in St. Louis.
No, but I have
the bike cops. Like,
I have been detained by them, and I have been given a traffic ticket. Oh, this was a funny one. So I literally got out of my car in the wrong part of the city and stepped 3 feet away, and without me looking, the guy's writing me a ticket. I was like, man, you know, like I could have fucking moved that shit, you know? Like, he's like, well, you parked it, it's legally parked. I'm like, oh, fucking, how much is this gonna be? It's gonna be $175. I was like, are you serious, dude? He's like, yeah. And he's like, and not only that, you're parked within 15 feet of a fire hydrant. I was like, man, really? Anyway, go ahead.
I don't know. Cops breaking laws to enforce laws. I think it's a huge problem. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just remember, every single arrest that ever happens is kidnapping. And just start from there. Just start from there and just start looking at what they do and the crime that they are committing. But they're labeling it something else. So it isn't technically a crime because the label is different. It's the same. Harassment, stalking.
Well, yeah, you know what? I was gonna say
extortion.
I was gonna say, as far as stalking. Now, I have been a victim of that when I was I don't know how many times that I've been pulled over where the police have followed me several blocks, several miles, following my tail without anything, and then 5 or 10 minutes later, then I get pulled over. That is a form of stalking. I at least I feel,
Mm-hmm.
Also with the fact that they are using, for what I hear, they've been using Stingray technology. Yes, 100%. So.
Well, here's another thing. Okay, people who are sensitive to light, all right, so like they can't go to concerts and stuff like that because they're epileptic or they have seizures, but they're still able to drive. Wouldn't the emergency lights trigger that?
Well, actually, you know what? Technically, legally, you have to be. This is just what I believe. Most state laws have adopted this, that if you're epileptic and have had a seizure, you're not supposed to have a seizure within, I believe it's 3 years. Then you're supposed to be able to drive. But yes, if you're prone to epilepsy, it would set it off.
Right.
That would be another thing. But I'm not sure if driving with epilepsy is a good idea. I don't know.
Well, I'm saying, like, it's not illegal for them to do, yet police officers keeping that in mind.
Well, I don't think
they just throw their lights on for fucking anything.
Well, yeah, I don't think I don't think half of the situations they come across they even think about. Especially when they're detaining people and they're telling people that they're breaking their wrists, when only to find out later that they have a physical handicap or have a malformed whatever. I don't think half that shit runs through their head. It's like tag them, bag them, and put them in the wagon now. And where is everybody tonight? It's just me and you.
That happens. I mean, let's see. Muted. Lucy's apparently here, but
Yeah.
Oh, nope, gone.
It's just me and you.
Yeah. All right, so who else can we piss off?
Let me see no, I'm just joking. I was gonna say the the deplorables. That was a funny op. Yeah. Apparently, when we moved over to MeWe, we were surprised to find out that there was actually quite a bit of deplorable groups that were out there. Some of them were actually quite hilarious, But anyway. Let me see. We could always. Go back to Facebook censorship. Yeah, we could always go back to that. The fact that Facebook censorship is, becoming more apparent. As I have been saying this, and other people will, have been. It's not a majority of us have jumped off, but I'm saying it's only going to get worse. I keep on joking, that. The only way that you're going to stay on Facebook is, through verification, is to, through DNA samples, which is a joke, but, who knows, if one day it might get that way. But there's also a technique, that we will put out there soon once we verify it. There's so far we've only, been able to do it twice, is to verify accounts without sending them anything. And so once we can repeat the process over and over again, we'll start spitting out how to do this. We've already recovered 2 accounts this way without giving them any information, but there was a way that we were doing it. We'll share that, but as far as the non-staying on Facebook. I don't see it. I really don't see it getting any better.
It's not going to.
No. I'm not saying that Twitter is better. I was going to say I'm not saying that Twitter is any better because you're limited to 156 characters, I think, which is like the size of a standard text message.
Well,
yeah.
Technically, if you're savvy with your photos, you can put as much as you want to in there.
That is true. That is true, but Facebook is the place where everybody hangs out. So yes, we will continue to have weird accounts that are out there, but only to have them removed the next day. But it still is the place to share things if you can. But these algorithms are just going to get worse, and right now they're working on an app. That will be open source, able to cross-post to multiple locations at the same time. Will it set off this this new algorithm? But it's not really new. It's been out for a while. We've been aware of it. They just announced it. But will this probably affect? I mean, if you're posting with anything that will be massively cross-posting to different sites, will it be flagged as possible spam? Quite possibly. You know what? To be honest with you, I don't remember any of this shit. Like, I was really fucking high back in the MySpace days, really into the underground market. I don't remember any of this shit going on. You know?
Well, it wasn't a problem. It wasn't an issue then.
I don't think
really
it was.
wasn't.
I don't think it was. I don't. You know, I had. You know, we even were selling like. I hate to say this, we were even like, you know, selling drugs on fucking MySpace. Nobody gave a shit. You know? None of this shit.
It wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
And the reason why it wasn't a problem is because when I was a teenager, people didn't really get involved with shit that didn't have anything to do with them.
Yeah. when I say we, I'm not
involved in every aspect of everybody else's life.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a problem. I mean, that's why fucking CBS is out of control. That's why all kinds of shit's going on. That's just out of control. It's everybody feeling their way's the right way, and they need someone to enforce that upon other people. No, that is not freedom. That is an individual's freedom.
Well, you know. I mean.
Just saying, if you don't like what somebody's doing, just stop chilling with them. Like. Be like, all right, guys, I'm gonna burn the fuck out now. See ya.
Well, I mean, like I've almost like quite had it, you know, with Facebook. I mean, we did. I will share the technique when we've perfected it. I really haven't announced it to too many people about how to get your account back without giving them anything. But you know, honestly, like to be real frank, why should you have to fight? I mean, why should you have to fight to stay on a social media platform? Really, I mean, it is kind of ridiculous. It's
realistically, all right. People who report somebody else's anything, okay? What is the need to report that? I mean, you're friends with an individual for whatever fucking reason, right?
Well, you know, I understand the report button, but it honestly is a flawed method because essentially, like, just think of the broad spectrum. Okay, you have like roughly 500 million people, is a couple, maybe a billion people on Facebook, right? And I think those are exaggerated numbers because they've been losing accounts left and right since they've been you know, enforcing this stuff. God, I just completely lost my train of thought. That was really bad. That was really weird. Oh my god. God, what the hell was I just talking about? I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious.
We didn't have this problem on MySpace.
Yeah, no, yeah. So why should you have to like, you know?
And the report button is.
Oh yeah. So the broad spectrum, the 500, yeah. So the so essentially, you know, Facebook staff wouldn't have to start policing as much of Facebook because of the you know, because they would have a self-regulating, you know, essentially people would report and then they would be able to spot where the problems are. But it's a flawed system because, you know, people are out there just like fucking report crazy, you know, report.
Oh, yeah.
I hate this guy, fucking report. I'm going to troll and I'm going to delete your account. Report. It's a flawed fucking system, you know. And
this is my ex, fuck.
Yeah, it's a flawed fucking system. It's a flawed fucking system. You know. To be honest with you, they could have been better designed. You know, if you're gonna create content that needs, you know, mature content, maybe then you might need an ID, or you might have another way to verify that. You know, even if you know. There's you know, even you know, you can legally get around it by saying a disclaimer and click yes in the box, and legally, you know, legally that would have been an easier way to go around it, you know, for weird content that would need you know, above 18 or stuff like that. But the way that they designed stuff was just, at least to me, was completely retarded. But it is the popular place for people to be. I don't know. And if you think things are trending in Facebook, think again. Facebook chooses the content that is trending. So these things that are showing up in your news feeds.
This is true. And all right, this is not only true, but this is actually kind of scary because they receive money for advertisement, which means they can choose what you see. And they have algorithms too. Like if you were interested in something, and you were looking it up, whether it be on Facebook or any other place on your fucking browser, there's an algorithm out there that sends ads to you based on stuff you were researching.
Yeah. Well, when you're hovering when you're hovering over pictures, they know that. When you're scrolling down things, they know that. Your messages are being monitored. Just about everything you just 100%. It's really not a safe place to be. Do people choose this for main means of communication? Of course they do, but I would just say that I wouldn't. If you're going around, sending your nudie pictures through Facebook, think again. That could be monitored as well. Just saying. And I believe the algorithm that they didn't create what was going around the last few months. It was bought from an Israeli company called Algorithmic Systems. That's been going around and getting rid of accounts and stuff like that. So.
Okay, so just an update. The protest is currently going on downtown right now. They got a bunch of cars gathering. They're yelling, screaming, etc., like protests go. But some interesting questions were added to this, like why haven't the police released the autopsy reports, the police report, or the police body cams showing what happened? Some interesting questions.
Oh, what? What'd you say? Some questions.
Some of the interesting questions there. Yeah, for because the Isaiah execution by the SWAT team, where why haven't the police released the autopsy report, or the official police report, or the police body cams to show what really happened?
Because they're trying to cover their fucking tracks. Or delay it so they can get something together. They know they fucked up. What the hell is that noise?
What noise? Is it clicking?
Yes, it's clicking. Are you typing on your device?
Well, I'm typing on one of the devices I'm currently on.
Okay, gotcha.
I've got like 30 things going on at all times.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Because I spend so much of my time at work. I'm playing catch up, solve problem, do the thing I'm currently doing, all at the same time. Just gets that distracted. I actually don't know how I'm able to stay on topic with anybody about anything.
Oh yeah, you're like me. You like me, just go like 100%, ADD, hard to focus.
Well, it helps when there's really so much to fucking do, so much.
Oh, and coming up, I believe. Okay, so a reminder: July 12th, there will be an online protest for net neutrality. No more updates as far as that websites that are participating in the protest will be redoing their websites. If one would be so inclined to go even further, go ahead and do whatever you need to do. Sign petitions or go out in the street and make an uproar against what is going on with the net neutrality laws that are going on or out there. July, our boy Jody, I believe, is still doing the promoting the and the Fed on September 9/11. So that's up and coming.
Convenient timing.
Yeah.
There should be a protest every 9/11 because we all know 9/11 was done by our government. I'm just saying. It should be a thing.
Huh?
There should be a protest every 9/11 because everybody knows 9/11 was perpetrated by a government.
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
even sheeple know this. Even sheeple know this, and they still like bow to government. And it just fucking blows my like. You know your government just fucked up all of this, and yet you still bow. Why?
Fear factor. What happens if you stand up? I don't know. But for me, I've always been, talking about, a protest on the Federal Reserve. One day isn't really enough to cause. It's enough to get awareness, but essentially, it's not enough to stop it. But if I had the cards in my hand, or a personal recommendation, protest the Fed every fucking day.
Do you watch stand-up comedy? I watch a lot of stand-up comedy because they make a lot of good points here lately.
You're talking about what's
Doug Stanhope is amazing. He did one of his later specials was called Beer Hall Putsch, and he was talking about the Occupy movement, and he's like, "You guys had all this gung ho, and I was cheering for you guys, but what did you do? What did you accomplish? You fucked up a park. That's all you did is you fucked up a park. Like, seriously, if you would have went to the we don't really do leaders. Well, you fucking needed some. Somebody had to have had a clue. Like, what if everybody went to the thrift store, you got some cheap ass suits, pulled your dreads back to one side, went to the banks, and you stood in line. You took up those two desks that they always have open for real commerce. You take those up all day long, and you just file for frivolous loans all day long and get denied over and over again. And then finally you sue them for discrimination. That would have caused more of an impact. And I laughed my ass off, but he kind of made a point.
Well, there was actually more to the Occupy movement than I believe there was some cyber end going on as well. That wasn't really apparent from what I heard, but I wasn't around back then.
Personally, I believe the Occupy movement really didn't do anything but empower activists to get back out in the street.
I can agree with you there.
Looking back. Yeah. All it really accomplished was it pissed people off enough to actually, go do something. Not that, they actually accomplished anything, but they went and did something. So now that we're willing to go and do something, we need some goals. Like, we're going to do this and we're not going to stop until this goal is accomplished type of situations going on. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
So, like, they're making a huge mess downtown. Like, they're cluttering up traffic with cars and they're fucking screaming at the top of their lungs for justice for Isaiah. This is something that they will get tired of because that's where they make all their fucking money is downtown late night, the bar crowd, especially on a holiday weekend.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Keep that shit up. Keep that shit up. Fuck with the revenue. Fuck with their money, and I guarantee you fuck with their money enough, they'll give us what you want.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I may not be on here as much as I originally wanted because I might be working, but if there's problems or anything like that and it gets brought to me, I'll be on here. I'll address them. I will bring up any topic anybody wants to comment about. I will even invite you onto the show to debate with me about it. I don't care.
What? Who said that? Who said that?
That was me.
Oh, I thought it came in weird on my end. I heard it sounded like two different voices on there.
Like, I really don't care who wants to talk about what. If you want to talk about something, you want to debate something, you think we're wrong about something, fucking challenge us. Come on, let's talk about it. Let's debate. I don't care. Let's do it. Let's do it. One way or the other, we're going to come to a conclusion. Either we're both right and we've just been looking at it slightly askewed. We're both fucking wrong, and that's a possibility. We could both be fucking wrong, or you're an idiot. One of these things is going to occur, and we will get to the truth.
My hopes.
I don't see many challenge accepted things being coming up.
Yeah.
This was open-ended conversation too. Like I'll debate with a troll on air. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I sometimes take the wrong point of view just to argue against people, so that way they actually have to be on top of their game. I do this sometimes.
I mean, I do know a few troll groups out there that do that kind of stuff. Trolls with purpose out there. You guys know who you are. You might be listening. They do have a purpose out there. Yeah, so you're right.
Hats off.
Yeah. Yeah. What's funny is that you can even be the troller and only know a few facts, and you'd be surprised how many people don't know what they're talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Professional bullshit, right?
You know what my favorite thing to get from trolls is? You actually sound intelligent. Why the fuck are you rolling with Anonymous? I've been here, bro. Why the fuck did you turn your back? Just saying.
Yeah, you know what, and to verify that, I have seen that through some of the Anon communities. They're not bad Anons, they're just not aware. A lot of what I've been finding since I moved a lot, almost 90% off of Facebook is that you do find a different breed of Anons off of Facebook. If you know what I'm saying.
We're not all peace, love, and light.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to state that for the record. To anybody listening, we are not all peace, love, and light. Some of us are, we're all eventually for peace, but some of us, we've found a different path, and that's peace, fuck off, I won't do what you tell me. And we stick to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say.
They say we don't target individuals. I target fucking police departments.
Yeah, I
target people all the time, especially if they're being dickwise. Do you remember when fucking Adini came on and like the entirety, trolls, Anonymous, everybody gathered up and targeted the fuck out of Ed? I remember this. This was a fun fucking everybody got along gloriously for like 2 days.
Well,
it was out for Ed.
I was going to say, everybody who thinks, that Anonymous represents, PE, that we're some sort of fucking modern hippie group is, we're a lot of things, but that doesn't represent all of us. In fact, the tactics that you're speaking of, that's still, I talked to, some of the Midwest Anons, on a not regular basis, every couple of weeks, and those guys are slam bam dinky bam, you know what I mean? They're brutally hardcore,
I know.
Yeah, they don't like something, and they make sure something gets done,
This is literally like why we get asked to help with fucking everything.
Well, I hate to say this, but I don't get any like stupid, stupid, requests for help, but I do get, requests that I will not respond to. You asked me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're not gonna hack your fucking girlfriend's Facebook page. She's cheating on you. If you think she's cheating on you, she's probably cheating on you. Either that, or you need to pay better attention to your fucking girlfriend. Move on. Get out with your girl.
I would say
working out with your guy. I don't give a shit.
I would say
that's between you two.
I was gonna say, yeah. There's, you can pay somebody to monitor their phone. What the fuck? It's there's software out there to do that, so you don't really need to hack their Facebook. What the fuck?
But yeah, if you're that concerned about it, I mean, realistically, at the point where you're considering that your significant other's cheating, it's time to have that conversation, that uncomfortable conversation. Just go have the conversation.
Yeah.
Like, why make your life more difficult? There are other like causes and stuff I will take up. Somebody told me the other day that we're not vigilantes, and I'm like, that is definitely one word that could be used to describe us.
Yeah.
Really good. It's one of those words. Like we can be described as vigilantes. We can definitely be described as terrorists from a certain perspective. There's all kinds of things that we can be considered. And that's because we don't really mold into any label because there's too many of us. Like, we are human. That's it. We are human, and we are trying to make the world not such a shitty place, basically by whatever means we deem it necessary to accomplish that goal. End of story.
Some of these, I love you guys. Some of these comments.
I love the comments, especially. I miss the trolls who came on and trolled us. Like, I miss that. That's a good thing. That's part of who we are. Like,
yeah.
Realistically, troll us. That's fun for us. We laugh at you. We laugh at the jokes you make. We do. And if I catch it, I'm gonna troll you back. We're gonna have fun.
Yeah. So we got.
I mean, I might not do it while we're live.
We got the flat Earth thing is coming up again. So what about flat Earth? Did I talk about this on the air or off the air?
Yeah, we talked about it on the air. This is. Why does it matter? That's my question. Why does it matter? Isn't that ultimately irrelevant in consideration to how one human being treats another living being on this planet? Like, isn't that more of an important issue as how we treat one another, rather than whether the Earth is round or flat? I could give a shit less. We could be a disc on a turtle. I don't care. I don't care until you can stop hating people for no fucking reason. And these are the things I say when I'm sober. You should get me drunk.
I was gonna say I was gonna put a picture.
I'm going to go fund me for the Get John James Drunk on Air fund and see what happens.
Let me see. Do I have a picture for the flat earthers? No, I don't have one. I was gonna get a rotating, animated, spinning globe. That's my take on the flat Earth theory.
Well, like, first of all, I stayed with this. I had this activist who stayed with us for a little while when the Ferguson thing was going on, and she described herself as a theoretical engineer. She couldn't build shit, but she could tell you how to build it in theory, and like what you would need. That was her job, is to basically come up with the rough draft of blueprints or whatever. But there was something that she liked to state over and over again, and that is when you approach any situation, you need the empirical data. What do you know for a fact that you have witnessed yourself? And you have to go off of there. Therefore, unless you're a fucking astronaut, you don't know. Shut the fuck up. Have you been to space? Have you circled the fucking globe? From a distance, you can tell whether or not we're spherical shaped or flat shaped or we're a disc on a turtle.
Well,
have you personally done it? Because if not, then you're probably not an authority on this subject matter.
I would say actually coming very soon. Okay, there will be commercial space flights very soon. In fact,
oh yeah, that would be fucking awesome. They were talking about building some kind of resort on Mars or something.
Well, 2020,
that would be kind of spiffy.
Yeah, we talked about that on the other show with our guest. Well, he's on our panel now, Alan. That 2023 there is a one-way mission to Mars, and I believe there are plans to bring a second a second one-way mission for the colonization of Mars. And to be
Yeah, I read
honest,
something on
and
that.
to be honest with you, you call this just a what Alan was saying. Some of the weird stuff I wouldn't be surprised if you found hieroglyphs in
I'm
art.
totally cool with this idea because the elite will probably try to move to Mars.
Well, no, you know what I'm
Cool.
saying. You know what I'm saying. There isn't a lot of evidence to say that what happened on Mars might have been artificial. Why atmosphere went away.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if there were artifacts on there. But that's just speculation, though.
I did read an article. It was either earlier this month or last month. I can't remember which, but it wasn't too long ago. At the end of this year, they're supposed to be doing a surgery. This scares the shit out of me.
Oh, brain
Other
surgery.
people are going like it's a good thing, but this scares the shit out of me. They're going to perform an operation at the end of the year to transplant a human head onto a healthy body. And it's the first time they're trying to do this, all right, and like they're serious about this. The guy they're doing it to, like, he's paraplegic, terminal. He's going to die with or without this surgery, like.
Yeah.
But they're hoping with the surgery they can extend his life, and they're going to put his head onto a healthy body, and see what happens. Other people are like, that's a really cool idea. What a medical miracle. And I'm like, are you guys fucking insane? Who's going to be able to afford this? The elite. The elite will live forever. At that point, we're truly and eating the fucking elite. I'm just saying. Like, this operation scares the shit out of me for what it could mean. Like, I don't know about you, but my health insurance probably does not cover a head transplant.
Yeah.
Just saying. So that's the thing that's coming up, that most people are like, they don't even know. They haven't even fucking heard about it. And I'm like, this scares the ever-living shit out of me. It really does. It's going to change the face of what what's going to happen. It's going to, if it's successful, it's going to make the elite more emboldened because they won't fear consequences so much anymore.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do?
Oh, we'll just transplant. We'll just kill this guy right here, and or we'll grow you a body, and you could live another 50 fucking years. Who knows?
Yeah, before your next transplant, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Like, this scares the shit out of me.
Well,
it really does.
I could see some benefits from as far as humankind, in weird situations, but that's far and beyond. But I don't know. I don't see any good coming from that kind of shit. Your time is up. Your time is up.
Me neither. Right. I don't see anything good coming from it, but it literally does scare the ever-living shit of what it could mean, and people haven't given it enough thought. And that's like, nobody pays attention to the bigger picture. They're like, this is a good idea thing, and nobody pays attention to the implications any action would have on the future.
Well,
as very horrible really horrible implications, like really, really bad.
Well, there's also some other things that have been out for a while. Genetic therapy. I believe they've also, mastered the art of. If you wanted to change your eye color, they can do weird stuff like that as well. So, who knows what kind of long-term effects that would actually cause in the long run? Don't know.
I literally have no clue what kind of long-term effects. Like, at that point, we would have to treat the elite like zombies and like just destroy their fucking head.
Oh, the show's cutting in and out. Yep. I am having some hiccups. Hold on, let me move away from the.
Well, of course. I mean, we're talking about the future of things. I don't know. I don't believe in coincidences, so
No, it's been happening since 10 p.m. I'm using a borrowed access point. Borrowed. And it's a weekend, so I believe it's the bandwidth might be compromised at the moment. So. Question for John.
Uh-oh.
Does LSD count for seeing the truth?
All right. Well, LSD works like this. Okay, LSD, while it does make you hallucinate and everything else, what it does, what you experience, regardless of the hallucinations, is once you get done and come down, you get an understanding that it is totally possible that everything that you have been taught is wrong.
You know, I completely agree with you. You know, me being, recovering addict, and a lot of my disease revolved around not just hard drugs, but psychedelics. And I remember getting, I never got this from, drugs that produced pleasure. And, I got this only from psychedelics. And this happened, I remember that kind of feeling the first time is that I got to experience the loss of ego, self, insanity, inward expansion, outward expansion, and a taste of spirituality. It was almost as though I was having a divine religious experience in my room, at the whim. And coming back from that, I felt different. Like, I don't know if there's a real word for it, and I know that anybody else who has done the same thing has experienced stuff like this, but it is a perception changer on just why are things the way they are, or maybe you got some other concept and brought it back. Is that the way that we think in our three-dimensional human mind is just so limited. And something about certain psychedelic drugs can definitely you can bring some of that back. There was a guy, the guy who essentially came up with the double helix structure for DNA, or at least thought about it. He did acid, I think, 15 or 20 years before. But that was the first time he ever thought about such a thing. What would DNA look like, or you know what I mean? So
Yeah. Psychedelics, first of all, the reason why it's illegal is because there hasn't been enough testing done on it to figure out how it can be used to control us. And I feel it's the same for most illegal drugs at this point, is until they have found a way to the point where it's going to control us in some form or another, it won't be legal. The only exception being marijuana, as they're realizing like the hemp industry can be way better for our planet and everything else. Like, even the elites still have to live here. So at a certain point, they look at some stuff and go, you know what? They have a point. Like, this would be way better for us than some of the other shit that goes on. So, like, that's something that the elite allow to happen because it's better for them in the long run too. I don't know, but that's theory crafting, really.
Well, like, do I really think that there's been some overpressurization of pleasure drugs, heroin, crack cocaine, methamphetamine, pushed on on the subject you're talking about 100%, but you really don't see. As far as and I've been around the block, a million times, that you don't see too many people out there, doing what I was doing. As far as when it comes to the psychedelic compounds, But throughout the history of man, and, you can even trace it back to ancient shamanism. This is an old practice. That goes back to the beginning of time.
And still practiced today to an extent.
Yeah, that was kind of more like what I was into at one, for a while.
It's actually really interesting, and anybody who's trying to learn how to experience other cultures, this is definitely one that you might want to start checking into, because it will help open you up to more cultures and understanding them better. At least, that's my recommendation.
Yeah, I'm not saying go out there and crack open, hit up your dealer for some LSD. But what I'm saying is that because it might not be for you, but I am saying that I think a lot of people could grasp or gain a lot of more of the human experience through at least experiencing that the weirdness of all of it. I even I don't know. That's a broad leap. I won't say it. But I would say a lot of the stuff that was coming out of the '60s, I think, would be directly related to the reoccurrence of the psychedelic drugs into culture. 100%. A lot of the things that were coming out at that point.
I have people asking me if I can call them right now. I'm like, I'm currently in a show. Go watch it. Tune in. As you're about to,
What did Timothy Leary say? Tune in, tune out. Oh God, what was it? Tune in, tune out, drop out.
Turn up? I don't know.
Drop out. Oh God. I still have this clip of him somewhere on Space Ghost Coast to Coast, where he was being interviewed with Space Ghost, and he's out there perma-fried and talking about his his trans-dimensional 3D glasses makes him.
Let's see. Timothy Leary quotes: "Think for yourself and question authority. Women who seek to be equal with men lack ambition."
Oh, tune in, tune out. Tune in, turn out, on, drop out. There you go.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to read the rest of these quotes because I already started. You're only as young as the last time you changed your mind.
What?
You're only as young as the last time you changed your mind.
Oh, that's a good one.
The universe is an intelligence test.
Yes. Okay. This sounds like...
In the information...
Go ahead.
He sounds like an early Anon. In the information age, you don't teach philosophy as they did after feudalism. You perform it. If Aristotle were alive today, he'd have a talk show. Civilization is unbearable, but it is less unbearable at the top. We are dealing with the best educated generation in history, but they've got a brain dressed up with nowhere to go.
Yeah.
You can always pick up your needle and move to another groove.
That's not a good one.
I think he was talking about records.
Yeah, Timothy Leary was.
You can always change the music.
I think George is saying Timothy Leary was a genius. You know who was a big fan of? Terrence McKenna. You ever heard of him?
There are 3 side effects of acid: enhanced long-term memory, and I forget the third.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the 60s, he had what was known as they had the Beverly Hills in Berkeley. He had the LSD parties. I'm not I'm not sure.
The last quote I love. I love this last quote. Learning how to operate a soul figures to take time. Never thought about it that way.
But I am checking the chat. What is he talking? What? I am checking the general chat. Oh, you know what? I think, my messages on my end. Oh God, it's my browser's doing it again. There we go. Yeah, my messages are turning out of order again. Thank you, Facebook.
Yeah. Woohoo, Facebook.
Yeah. Like I'll refresh and they'll be in the wrong order. Yeah, but I think George asked if what you're seeing is really reality. Now there was.
Well, that depends on one's definition
Yes,
of reality.
but I always refer back to there's a what do you call it, forget, was this an Indian saying? Is that the psychedelic drug is taking the filter off. I think that might have been McKenna. So what you are experiencing might just be it could be just seeing everything, without the filter on,
It's possible. I mean, that's something to be considered.
It's a different way of looking at it. I mean, can you prove it? No, you can't. This chat.
There's a lot of things that are like there's a lot of things that we do that operate based off of theory rather than provable fact, and like a lot of that has to do with perspective and personal belief of perspective. Like I personally always think that the cops are in the wrong. So whenever something happens, I'm like, who are they fucking with now? Instead of who fucked up. So, which most people would think, I think, who are they fucking with now? Who are they harassing now? Who are they bullying now? Who's about to die? These are the things that run through my head whenever I see police officer pulling over an individual anywhere in my city. Most people don't think that though. But then most people haven't been exposed to everything that I have. So,
yeah.
That like reality is completely perspective based.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, this is why depressed people literally feel like they're drowning all the fucking time, and just one bullshit thing after another. Their reality is everything sucks, regardless if you're standing next to them and everything's fucking nice to you. Their reality is everything sucks.
Well, yeah, and that always interested me, in neurochemistry and how powerful the brain is. Introducing an artificial chemical that will produce the lack of that. I'm not talking about antidepressants. I'm more talking about using. This was part of my addiction. Is that how easily that feeling goes away. But everything. I think there's a book back in a book. It's called. You ever heard of it? It's called The Doors of Perception.
I don't think I've read it.
Yeah, it's based. I believe that was where the Doors got their the idea for the name for their band. Yeah, if I'm wrong, yeah.
No idea. I do know that we need to get one of our other people to start talking because I'm going to have to burn out here soon. And due to prior engagements, I don't want to leave you all alone.
I was gonna say we do have Marvin in here. Let me tell him to get in here. Join call.
So, at this point, anybody in the comment section want to ask me any more questions? We got about 10 minutes to do so. Marvin. Alan, get back on. Except,
we have in the consciousness dwells the wondrous. Peyote tells us where to find it. I think we had a show. We had a show that was dedicated to this. Was drugs. Psychedelics help with depression. Also, yes, that is true. In fact, there is organization out there. I think they're called MAPS, MAPPS, I think .org, and they've been most of the research has been done on someone wants to join and talk. Enrico,
there's
let me just put you back in here, Enrico.
There's a group out there right now that, like, you can pay to go have an ayahuasca trip, which is apparently the strongest hallucinogenic you can get right now. Yeah. And like there's videos of like the effects it had on Lindsay Lohan, and like apparently she's cleaned her act up after having trips and shit like that. It's definitely interesting stuff to look into. And I personally recommend hallucinogenics at least as a one-time. Try it once. Make sure you have somebody sober with you, but try it once.
Well, yeah, I've done that drug 5 times, all done by myself, and I would say that there is a little because there were some long after effects, and I remember having the last one, telling myself I'm never going to do this shit again. It was just too crazy. But yeah,
I did not have that. I don't know. I'm one of those people who has a really well expanded viewpoint. So people who are worried about bad trips, I don't have one, but I've been exposed to so many things that I don't think that's possible for me to have a bad time unless I'm looking to have a bad time. So it's different. It really is a different experience for everybody. So nobody can tell you what it's like.
Well, yeah. I mean, my last trip, I did way too much, and I knew I did, and that wasn't the ruin. I got what I needed to get out of it, and that was it. And I think the last trip was I was just seeing flashes of light and tunnels and ever expanding patterns and stuff, and I knew I did too much,
Right.
But say la vie. But yeah. Maps does Maps does research on LSD and MDMA for depression, PTSD. They've been doing a lot of research for a while. In fact, it's not it's not really kind of weird, but I believe they were using. Now, I don't know the history of LSD in depression back in the early phases of its development, but it was used a lot in the psychiatric field. As far as schizophrenics, I'm not sure how well that went. And then we have another.
All right. Well, that does it for me. I have to run.
I gotcha.
But you have more people joining. Hi, Lucy. Maybe. They're working on it. Yeah, Lucy and Loki are probably hopping back on in a second. So, but look up a bunch of. There's all kinds of stuff on hallucinogenics that literally, like, you could spend like the next 2 years researching if you wanted to throw the time in it. I recommend trying it once with a sober friend. That's my recommendation. So, I'll catch you guys probably next weekend. Talk to you then.
All right, later.
Later, bro.
Thanks, John.
Bye. Hey, what's going on?
We just got home.
So we were talking about hallucinogenics?
Yeah. It's just kind of the conversation went over to there. We were talking about the human experience, depression, expanding your mind through hallucinogenic drugs.
Well, I'm definitely a supporter of that kind of stuff. You know, I mean, everybody has their own and stuff, but I've been there, and I definitely think that. I mean, where I'm from, we have the most types of psychedelic mushrooms and the most potent psychedelic mushrooms. So,
well, there's a lot of studies lately proving that psilocybin actually pretty much it temporarily cures manic depression.
University studies, actually, there was a big one that said that it helps restructure the way your mind works in a good way. You know, helps refocus the way the neurons in your brain actually fire.
Well, essentially, yeah. What you're doing is opening up the connections that would have never. Hold on, I'm stuck on a cord trying to plug something in for the show. Making those connections that would have never happened naturally. You know.
I think what it does is, I mean, and I've told people this for a long time, and again, you know, I'm not promoting drug use, really. But I do think there's beneficial drugs, and there's really devastating. We got a lot of background noise going on there. Tyler.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got some gummy worms.
I don't understand.
I think.
What? I think I got some gummy worms.
I wondered if that's what you had said. I'm like,
Yeah.
Did he just say gummy worms?
Can hear you. Yeah. I think there's beneficial ones, and there's bad ones. Like you have your methamphetamines and opiates and shit like that, you know, people get caught up in themselves on. And then there's other ones like psychedelics or weed or whatever that kind of helps connect you to the world and other people and
Get back in touch with yourself.
Yeah, get you back in touch with yourself. Kind of help. And, you know, I'm not saying go and take this stuff all the time, but for a lot of people, every once in a while, you know, once a year or whatever, can have some pretty profound beneficial effects. I'm all about certain things, but there's a lot of nasty shit out there too that you might touch once and you're done for. So.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about, but yeah. I had a pretty nasty run on a relapse with cathinones. Some pretty nasty shit out there. But that's why I'm clean today.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been clean for a good long time off you know, bad stuff. I'm pretty proud of myself, and I really owe a lot of it to the collective and stuff. I have a reason to be good and do good, and I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm happy with where I'm at and stuff, and that to the activists out there that I work with, and the people out there that I love and stuff, because I had a pretty rough time for a really long time. So.
Well, yeah, you know it's real bad when you're sleeping on the street and you're spending every last dollar on your fucking habit. Then you know.
I think with just like the application of any treatment for any illness, you have to weigh the pros and cons of what each different treatment is going to, how it's going to benefit you.
Well, yeah. I don't think you're gonna find any enlightenment in life in a bag of heroin. You know what I mean?
Absolutely not. Yeah, that stuff just sucks you into yourself.
Oh, you sexy beast.
Who is that?
Are you guys in the same room?
Hey, Alan. No, Diz and I are in the same room. Alan left us. What's up, bro?
What's up, dude?
Oh, so Alan, we do have something to talk about. So you posted a video on those mysterious bases. We can talk about this. Those bases in those underground bases in Idaho, right?
Idaho, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware. We did talk off air about the underground bases in New Mexico, and but I wasn't aware that there were that many military underground bases in Ohio.
Cool. Yeah, well, they're actually everywhere. I mean, 1969 to 1972, actually earlier than that, they started instituting what's called the DUMS program, which is an acronym for Deep Underground Military Base something. I don't know. But, yeah, they've been putting them together, and slowly they've been linking them together with two systems of travel. There's actually a high-speed train that uses some kind of like gravity, magnet, some kind of crap that goes real fast on the tracks, and then there's one that actually is used for freight. But supposedly these train systems can take you across the country and sometimes even across the continents. Like so they must travel under the ocean or something. And then the guy across the street, right over yonder, I know my blinds are shitty, but that guy drives long-haul truck, and he was in, where the heck is that in Arkansas? Is where the Walmart capital is, but basically he had to drive in there and back up some products, and he confirmed that those tunnels go on for miles. You know, he didn't go all the way through to California, but he drove about 10, 15 miles underground to drop his load off.
No, I understand the secrecy, you know, behind underground bases, but a complete underground system between them.
Yeah, it's, you know, because for the sole fact that you know, everyone with video cameras now, every time they see the National Guard railhead on like the trains and stuff, they think it's Jade Helm. And so imagine if you were to see like a nuclear missile or something like that. Normally you wouldn't use it. You use aircraft. You'd truck it with the what's called the Ghost Line truckers, which are the green trucks with the solid white 53-foot cabs. But now with this system, you don't even have to go terranean. You can stay subterranean and no one knows your business. You can move military assets without satellite imaging knowing you. You know, it's just really one, I don't know if it's for the doomsday, but just to keep everything secret from our enemies. But, you know, who knows?
Yeah, there was.
Go ahead. It's awfully strange too that the guy who invented this concrete that creates all these tunnel systems and stuff like that, he created. He created a house that demonstrates the strength of this concrete in the middle of nowhere in the Ozarks. And it's like, well, why the heck would you create a model house in the middle of nowhere when, you know, all these shahs and kings and queens would have to come into middle of nowhere Arkansas to see it? So that doesn't make any sense. The only thing that makes sense is kind of like where those folks we know in West Virginia where there's no building code laws. So the only reason why they built that stuff out there and all these terrains and subterranean terminals is because there's no building code. So you don't have to get an inspection from laying your foundation to go to framing, get an inspection, then go to electrical and get an inspection. So, you know, it's really, it's quite interesting how they set all this stuff up. Absolutely insane. And there's supposedly entrances to some of these annotated on another website. I'll have to link to you later, but you know, that's that's something for a different time. But yeah, the bases are a pretty big deal. I think some of them lead all the way. There's actually a mapping system that I think his name was Philip Costello, which you can YouTube that guy, and he makes a video. I think it's about 3 hours long, and it was made right before his suicide murder. But he basically, just goes into detail on the subterranean mapping systems. What they actually do. First of all, I want to bring up, and we're going to go off topic here, but suck it and deal with it. But in 1996, we could clone sheep. Everyone knew about Dolly. And, you can't tell me that since that time, we haven't tried to mess around with genetic technology, and that's what Dulles is. So each one of these military base installations actually has a compartment that they use. So Area 51 is final testing phase. S4, which is located in Area 51, is a developmental stage for engineering. Dulles in New Mexico is a bioengineering lab. So, if you want rat babe, and this is true. Here's one true for you. So the military, when they created Kevlar, were like, dang, dude, freaking, we can't produce this at the mass level. So what are we going to do? We're going to create a spider. We're going to take a spider and we're going to take a goat and we're going to cross gene or, I don't know what the hell. So they made a bunch of spider goats or goat spiders, and basically the end game of it is now they have this goat that instead of it excreting milk out of its, boobies, it excretes Kevlar silk that they use to make all of our body armor.
No shit.
Yeah. Isn't that a little creepy? I was wearing stuff out of a goat's nipple, but it worked well. But so like Dulles is bioengineering, and then you have Area 52, which is in Utah. The old lady knows. Dugway, and that's a bioweapons facility. So anything that they can weaponize, they will use there. And then, of course, what started it all is the Wright-Patterson field in Ohio, and that's where everything goes first to get pulled apart and ripped apart and see how it works. And there's actually what the hell is it called? It's called the Air Force Foreign Technology Division or something like that. And so basically they were created to, pick up like a Russian MiG and know how it operates. But, in the shit of things, they've, come across UFOs supposedly, and they've reverse engineered some of that stuff as well. And it's not totally out there either, because you see all this free energy technology. That's all torsion-based physics. What that is you take like mercury or any kind of metal and you make it into a liquid, and then you spin it really freaking fast, and it creates a perpetual motion machine, an anti-gravity machine. And you can either fly to the freaking moon or wherever the hell you want to go, or you can power the city of Los Angeles or something. But it's science fact.
Well, wasn't Die Clocked was based off of this kind of stuff, the stuff that the Nazis were working on as well, right?
Yeah, like Die Clocked, that was developed in like 1939 is when it got its first start, and people thought that was going to be some kind of thermonuclear weapon, but that was I think they used mercury or nickel, and they liquidized that and spun it around, and of course everyone knows the story. It disappeared, and according to some UFO dude, I guess it reappeared in Pennsylvania, I think in 1980 or 1990. But what's weird about that, though, is I'm not the greatest science, but I think that thing can only go forward into time, because the theory of relativity and the theory of special relativity, one is time travel in the past, and one's time travel in the forward. So I don't know. They went to the future or something like that. But anyways, that leads me to another story, because we tried to do that in the 1955 or 60s with an Air Force captain in Ohio. And they had this, this whole quantum leap chamber set up. And a week before they were set to do this project, this Air Force at Wright-Patterson got this call. And there's this guy in Michigan who was digging up this pool. And they were digging the pool up, and they found this set of bones. And so they called the University of Michigan out. They came out, and they're like, dang, dude, this guy has set bones, and his freaking carbon dating on his skeleton is 60,000 years old. Like, what? You don't set bones, back in that day. And he had a bunch of fillings in his teeth, too. And I don't know about you, but, the witch doctors were some sweet suckers, but filling teeth, that ain't happening.
What was that? What was that weird thing that I was talking about? where they were working. They were trying to work with plasma invisibility, plasma shield or something like morph technology.
Yep.
And the ship, it was like an experiment in the ship, and the crew was fused.
Project Philadelphia.
Yeah, they're fused to the ship.
Yeah, that's another Tesla technology as well. But that was, I think that was the first attempt at quantum teleportation. I don't know if that was actual time travel, but I think they're trying to have a working theory on quantum teleportation to where you would actually Star Trek it kind of style. So you'd have one copy here, and then at the same space and time, you'd have another copy here. Which I'm not too good on string theory. I don't know how that really works, but it didn't work out for them, though, huh?
Well, I heard, for any of that kind of any kind of that technology, you're gonna need, massive amounts of power, which is not even safe to begin with,
Yeah, first, like that. What is that Project Almanac? There's no way that they could, harness that type of technology into any kind of those batteries, because that's where we're at now. Is we have all this great technology, but we don't have any battery cells that can hold this type of kinetic energy. We need a bigger battery, a heavy dutier battery, and that's really what's keeping us from space too. We can't go anywhere until we get a better battery system.
Well, there has been, they haven't perfected it, but it's called it's a circuit where they use, and this is real. It's super cooled. It's you put a charge on these things, and they hold a charge forever. So essentially, if you could build electronics based off of this technology, you would just have to put you'd have to make it a loop or something like that, if it even is possible, but you could keep things powered indefinitely.
Huh.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I think they're called superconductors. You ever heard of those?
I've heard of like superconductive gold, but it has to be, but what it has to be some kind of metal compound or insulator or something like that to make the battery last. So it's got to be some sort of super metal that, like you said, is a conductor insulator that makes it work extra good, or I don't know.
Well, yeah, the only drawback of this kind of technology is that they had to be way sub-zero temperatures to hold the charge. So. Oh
wow.
Yeah.
Dang. So that means that you're gonna have to introduce like nitroglycerin to the system, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of no-go in a gravity environment or a vacuum. I don't know. And let's see, what the heck? Well, I'm trying to think. I had some really good articles about how we're actually improving this stealth technology on our soldiers. There's you guys can Google it. So Google the cuttlefish, and DARPA is doing something with the cuttlefish to where it can alter its texture, its skin color. It's got all sorts of bioluminescent fun stuff, but we're working with that right now, and that's supposed to take us into like the predator age of the military camouflage stuff. So that'd be kind of cool.
I would actually pay a fine dollar to look like a predator.
Man, I mean, the thing is though, are they going to take it to a whole new level? Are they going to make us wear a suit? Or are they just going to take some kind of super soldier and just inject them with this and be like, now you're a chameleon, sucker? Something like that, and you got to think they got to be experimenting with that somehow, some way. You wonder who these guinea pigs are that DARPA uses. Right?
Volunteers within the service, you think?
That'd make a lot of sense because, let me tell you, in the service, there's a lot of guys that die from traffic accidents. And it's like, dude, this guy can shoot a machine gun and give you a 10-digit grid on a map, but he can't drive a Humvee. Get out of here, dude. So that you're very right. You could be like that. It could be like that. Because that's the best way to have a test subject is, if he's not alive, because then you don't, technically, on paper, but.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how did Northrop Grumman, or how the hell are they going to test the inefficiency of that non-lethal laser they're working on for the Apache helicopter?
There's that. Oh, I didn't know they had a non-lethal one. I know they've already tested the non-lethal one because that's supposed to be in, what do you call that? It's supposed to be like in the field or issued to the soldiers, I think, by the end of this year, but that's called the pain ray.
Like I said, wars will be different. They will, it'll just be like, that scene out of Terminator, where they're in the future and they have the laser, laser weapons. Yeah.
It's going to get crazy. I mean, the laser weapons are already there. I think I shared something in the chat a couple days ago about that guy in Nevada that made his own particle beam weapon. You're like, shit, dude. I mean, screw a firearm. I'm just going to make a particle beam weapon. You can suck it.
Now, you did show me a working plasma rifle. Now, is that video legit?
Yeah, that is legit, dude. Yeah. That's awesome.
That's crazy.
I was even looking up the other day. You can make handheld EMP guns, dude, right out of YouTube. It's like, dude, that'd be freaking awesome. I got a list of enemies. All you guys that picked on me in high school, watch out! I'm coming for you.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Good.
This is Alvin. I'm just stopping by saying hi.
What's up?
What's up, guys? What's the topic of discussion?
Oh, the weird stuff.
Oh, my favorite topic. That's so weird. What specifically is the topic of discussion?
We were talking about plasma rifles and stealth technology.
Nice. What about
them? Tailing out on that. I was going to go into a whole new tangent of weird crap.
Let's get it on.
Yeah, so I was watching this documentary. It's called The Knowledge of Forever Time, and basically at the end game of this, they're saying that there's a Stargate inside of our sun. And so if you Google the image of our sun and you see the cold spots, that's actually the, so to speak, openings of this Stargate. And it sounds stupid at first, but when you think about Einstein's theory of relativity and how gravity kind of is like a blanket. So when the sun sits, it makes this huge depression, and finally it falls through the actual time and space. Well, our sun is actually on the opposite end. So we are the what's called white hole of this. And on the other side of this would be the black hole. But some of the evidence that leaks up to this is, you go and you also search Google Images, where's the most UFO activity in our solar system? And it'll tell you the sun. And then you Google some of those images out of there, and it's quite amazing. And it also goes into why all the Aztec gods, all the Egyptians and stuff, they all had winter solstice and summer solstice, because supposedly those are the big days when you can go in and out of this supposed Stargate or something. But I'm paraphrasing.
Now, when you say Stargate, you mean like a wormhole?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And apparently this wormhole, which is kind of funny, is the wormhole, one of the places it can take us is what's called the constellation C-17, which is also known as Orion.
Okay.
So it's kind of interesting, but I employ everyone. I mean, if you have some spare time, the video is going to do more justice than what I can say, but it's absolutely amazing, because it's almost upsetting, because with the knowledge that we have and the technology that we have, we could technically explore other constellations and other solar systems right now. We could just pop through that sucker and go. But
But that's theoretical at this point. They don't really have any tangible evidence saying that wormholes really exist. Those are all like in equations, right?
Well, it's scientific theory, and scientific theory right now it's the closest thing to being proven before it's what's called a universal inverse law. So, I'm with you, dude. I'm not going to be the first one to be diving through that sun. I'll be the second one in.
No, you're definitely not. But that stuff is pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting, and we definitely don't know enough about this universe to rule anything out at this point in time.
Yeah, it's just and the amount of technology that went into the pyramids. I mean, each side of the Pyramid of Giza is 365 feet, 0.25. All four sides.
It takes the exact tools to measure that, huh?
Yeah, and each pyramid used exactly 225 stones. You know, it's amazing. And then it goes further into, you know, a lot of mythology and how the Greeks screwed a lot of crap up because they're a bunch of bastards that, no offense, if anyone's Greek, I'm not talking about you, I'm just talking about back in the day. But they were known to take a true story and envelop it more just to make it a better story to tell. So you hear this, everyone knows the story of Perseus, you know, killing the Kraken. And, you know, he used Medusa's head, and everyone's like, oh, you know, that's kind of funny. That's laughable. And there is actually some truth to Medusa. You know, her real name wasn't Medusa. Her name was Isis. And she was a pharaoh of Egypt. And she actually wore a crown of 7 snakes with 7 suns over their head, which represented that she ruled over the 7 continents of Earth. You know, what?
Interesting. I knew about Isis and I knew about Medusa, but I did not know they're one and the same. And also on pyramids, isn't like a latitude or longitude point of the pyramid that gives it also like the speed of light or something?
I haven't learned too much about that. I bet you that's in there too, because I mean, you know, these guys were insanely smart. But I know it's a big like it's not a myth, but they line up perfectly with Orion.
Yeah, I was just about to say that too, that the locations of a lot of the pyramids also correlated with constellations. That's actually
they were some exact measurements to do, definitely.
Pyramids was because after they started to catch on to realize there could be another one here and another one over there.
Yeah.
How they found them.
And you know, they go into the Sphinx. I mean, you can't carbon date stone, but they've done water erosion tests on the Sphinx. That thing's over 250,000 years old. This thing has been through so many cycles of life. And basically another thing what this thing says is humanity has reached this pinnacle of technology probably 4 or 5 times in the cycle of Earth. You know, they go on to say that we could have been around and done this cycle multiple times. And what makes this time different is like we can all attest is the global warming, the climate change. And this time, when it ends, it's going to be no more recycle. We're going to end up turning into Mars. And so, you know, and he also goes into maybe that's why there's so much, you know, and it's also kind of curious, too, on why there's so much alien contact or UFOs that you see. And it's also kind of funny that the most country in the world with the most UFO activity is America. You know, and it's like,
I haven't really seen anything that would, and I'm a skeptical and cynical man, but I haven't really seen anything that really proves to me that there's actually alien contact going on. I've seen a lot of circumstantial evidence, and there's a lot of stuff that they've classified or unclassified that points in that direction, but I haven't seen enough to say that that's really going on, though. What do you think?
Well, there was a huge sighting on the Arizona, the Phoenix Lights. Remember that?
I've seen that, but that could be Air Force, some kind of government program. They could actually be using the whole story of the UFO to cover up what they're actually doing, you know, which I've heard that as well. The Phoenix Lights are definitely something peculiar, and there's too many people who've seen that to say that didn't happen for sure, though.
True. Yeah, I agree with you there because, you know, the Nazis, you got, you know, a lot of people are listening are going to say that I'm nuts, but the Nazis had UFO technology. So, you know, if they had it in the 40s, you bet your ass we have it now.
Yeah, definitely. But how do we know for sure that was legitimately UFO technology and not just superior technology to the time that they were in, you know?
That's true. I mean, we're taking the word of, what's that one dude's name, the rocket guy. We're taking that guy's word for it and basically a couple other guys' words for it, but just the sophistication, you know, from 1917 and World War I when we're using horses and stuff like that and Custer guns, and then we jump in and you look at the pre-war technology of Germany and it's just amazing. They still have the fastest firing machine gun in the world. Or like, what's that first Captain America movie where it looks like it's that big old, excuse my language kids, but it's a big old metal dick with a helicopter thing in the middle?
To talk about.
But, you know, and you think that that's a total like fictional aircraft. That was actually you can Google that. That was actually an SS flight project that actually flew. What?
Well, didn't they also have in like those kind of flight projects? They had like a literal UFO, like the cliche UFO looking thing, the saucer and everything, and their technology they were working on at the time.
Yeah, they actually what it was called the Honeybu, and they didn't have the lasers back then, but what they did is they retrofitted this flying saucer with artillery guns, and it flew around with artillery guns. And yes, there's no proof that thing ever flew. But that we do have and from the Luftwaffe, the SS Luftwaffe. So they were trying to work on something. But I agree with you. You know, there's a whole lot of no proof out there. You know, it's just best guess and speculation. So it's really up to everyone to put the pieces.
Yeah, and at the same time, stuff like this is hard to prove and hard to find legitimate sources, because if it is true, they definitely go out their way to detect
There was another pretty famous one that was recorded over what was it, the British with those British officers that were guarding a nuclear site.
Oh yeah, you're talking about that in the 80s.
The one that was the whole conversation was recorded off of radio.
Yeah, that was in the 80s. That was another weird one.
Yeah.
Was that
Well, the whole conversation of the incidents that happened was I believe civilians even some civilian got a hold of the recording, and eventually didn't they the officers came forward in that one, right?
I am not too sure, because stuff like that has always been come back proven and then refuted. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the best guess, you know, to really look into it is just check out the Blue Book. You know, and you know, it sucks, but just cipher through all the 50,000 declassified documents.
Speaking of which, the CIA had a FOIA on a bunch of those released. I believe it was it the CIA? The CIA's website. It was up for a little bit, and then they took it away, right?
Yeah. That was them. Yeah.
Who's on the show tonight? Who's here?
Yeah. Who knows, though? You know, I mean, you know, is it actual UFOs, or is it just a distraction project to keep us disguised from whatever they have going on?
I looked at some of the papers. A bunch of bullshit. A lot of them are just like, saw an object, and then the rest of it blacked out. You know, just bullshit.
Yeah.
So it's like mostly redacted stuff that doesn't tell you anything.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah, and it's like why do you even declassify information if you're just gonna freaking blackline everything, you assholes? You know?
Right.
It's
just to tease you.
It sucks.
Just to let you know something's going on, but not enough to let you know what's going on. You know?
Yeah. But who knows? I think our best event for another mass UFO sighting is probably going to be during this eclipse that comes in August. So it'll be interesting to see what shows up.
Now, what about that Operation Bluebeam or something like that? I heard that they were going to try and unveil some kind of alien entity going around here, but it was supposed to be.
Yeah. I think if they're gonna use Bluebeam, since the Space Army Defense Program is still in infancy, you know, I think it's in its second year, we'll probably see, after the War on Terror ends, you'll see something like that implemented in the next maybe 5 to 10 years, I think. But I've read up on that, and it's quite interesting.
So do you think we get visited on a daily basis from extraterrestrials or stuff like that? Like your personal?
Sorry, what? I missed that last part. What's up?
No, I'm asking, do you personally believe that we get visited on a daily basis by extraterrestrials and stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, whether they're directly in contact with the government or not, you know, I can't prove any of that. But yeah, we definitely have, and whether it's an alien or not, I don't know that either. But we definitely have everyday massive UFO sightings in our sky every night. You know, they're coming and going. And what's funny is if you look in some of these pictures, they're not the same craft. You know, a lot of them, you know, or it could be from 6, 7, 12, 13 different, you know, races, you know, and it goes even more tinfoil. If you guys really have a slow night, you can search the alien race book. I guess supposedly the Russians had released some of their information, and they've released they say that there's 84 known alien races. The American government has known to been saying that there's anywhere between 6 and 12, but I don't know. The biggest the biggest proof that we have of any kind of alien life is there was a gray alien case that I think they had crashed in the 1960s or 70s, and one of them had survived, and they moved him to Area 51, and they didn't know how to treat him, and they took some of his DNA, and they found out that those gray aliens are actually chloroform-based life form. Chloroform.
You know what they think is they think would be the prime location for life in our solar system would be in Europa.
Well, that goes back to, I think Europa was probably the original place where humanity started, where life started, and then when it collided with what everyone, whether you call it Nibiru or the ultimate green dick, it collided with Europa, and the only thing left of Europa is its core. That's what they theorize right now. Is what we're looking at right now is just the core. And what's funny is there's still a pyramid on that motherfucker too. And get this, any place that ever has a pyramid has been iced out. I mean, look at Mars. Mars, regardless of whatever happened, and they think that life went to Mars after Europa, and then it got hit, and then it went to Earth after that. But I don't think that we'll ever be able to colonize Mars, because you can Google this as well. You check the radioactive atmosphere, or the radioactive parts in that atmosphere, and it is so jacked up. I think it's like 50 times past any kind of normal chemical nuclear reactor, like a volcano. So someone or something had to have detonated a weapons-grade nuclear weapon in their atmosphere. So them trying to colonize that planet is like.
Well, there's also there's other problems with Mars. It doesn't have a spinning core. So it doesn't have a magnetosphere. Am I right?
Yeah, and so it can't block out any of the UV rays or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it would take so much more resources. It'd be better just to nuke the whole planet and start over again. But they already did that, and it didn't work. It's insane. And then you look at the big old scar in Mars too, and that was actually, they say that was done by cosmic lightning, and that scar runs actually the length of the continental United States, and I think they said it's up to 24 miles deep, and I think 48 miles across. It's like, damn.
Hey, somebody's asking about the Dark Knight satellite. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I've heard something about that myself.
I have.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
First of all, let's see. Again, I would say if they want further information, check out the knowledge of Foreverland, because that's actually the last topic they touch on. And what they say is every time this satellite is around, it predates, what am I looking for? An apocalypse or the end of the world, because they found these in some of these cave drawings. And NASA supposedly has done a carbon date off the materials, and the thing is over 60,000 years old. And whether you believe it, if it's true or not, Nikola Tesla contacted that in 1899. He is the only reason why we know that thing is out there.
I thought. Well, no, I know we talked about that before. Where there's a. Actually, Tesla did believe in alien life, and he was laughed at by his colleagues. Yep. Because of that, but it was all based on an experiment that he did in the 1890s, where he had a radio. He had a radio and an antenna, and he was receiving an oscillating beeping noise. Now, many people might think that might have been a quasar or something else, but not at the AM level. No, he wouldn't be hearing that. So he was obviously hearing a repeating pattern on the AM band. So obviously, so he was definitely hearing a, I would say some sort of transmission,
Yeah. If it's on the AM band, it's definitely some kind of artificial transmission used by line of sight. If it was on the other band, it could be construed as like hydrogen gas around a comet. But then again, you'd have to find that comet again. And this goes back to you can point your telescope or your antenna in the sky, and you can catch it at a certain point, in the sky at the same time every day. So it's amazing, that what the heck that thing does. But it's been around forever. It predates every kind of any kind of flood or any kind of mass extinction we've had. And they go into saying that the most active. So when it really started to getting busy and send signals was in between 1917 and 1945 when the two biggest wars were going on. And then since then, they said that it's kind of shut down. It doesn't really send a whole lot of signals. It just has that repeater beacon signal.
Who knows what it was? Maybe it was. Maybe it's just a beacon. Who knows?
And it is not human. It's not made by humans, because I think we covered this in another show, but it goes in what's called a polar or reverse polar orbit, which we just now, yesterday or the day before, came up with the technology to where we could put things in non-geosynchronous orbit. We can't even get to polar orbit yet, because everything goes into synchronous orbit as it is now. So we don't even have the technology to put that thing in a polar orbit, let alone have the engine capacity to make it stay in that orbit as well. So it's something that's way beyond our technology.
Yeah.
It's just everyone thinks that and it's not really our fault, but everyone thinks that this every generation is the best generation that has ever come along. And what I can say is, if you open your mind enough and think that these guys are just as equal as you are, and you look at these cave drawings, don't look at them like some monkey man painting his hand. Look at them like they're a puzzle to be looked at. There's a lot of cryptology in a lot of these old cave paintings and drawings, and it's hiding there in plain sight for us.
Well, yeah. There was you got the Sumerian tablets. You got there's some weird stuff even in the Mayan culture, with a ship that was that was made out of gold, the little miniature one. Yeah. They got the Nazca lines. Bunch of weird. There's all sorts of weird stuff when you start studying.
The Nazca lines are electrically magnetic charged, so you could sit here you could do your radio show. Excuse me, from one of those lines. It'll actually charge your battery on your phone. It's amazing, the Nazca lines themselves, or even like Pinku Punkte or something like that. There's just next to the Nazca lines, they have these stones that megalithic stones are like Stonehenge that are like 4 or 5 tons that have been proven they were cut with a laser. Let alone how you're going to move them because there's no freaking trees around there. It's
now when you talk about stuff like that, it's really not as far fetched. I saw these Russians. That were using some modded tools, and they were charging their phones from inadvertent energy that had under power lines.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not as far fetched.
Somehow back in the day, these old cultures. Well, really, the last culture that was as technologically advanced as us were the Egyptians. As weird as that sounds, but ever since then, the Egyptians, I think, were the last people before the Great Flood, and then we kind of restarted our civilization and with all that other shit after that. But it's it's amazing to think that these people were probably just as smart as we are, and we're driving around in cars or God knows what, dude.
Well, you look at Tiwanaku. Tiwanaku, is that it? Tiwanaku.
Yeah, that's one of them. Yeah.
17,000-year-old city made of anodite, cut and fit 10,000 pound slabs of anodite. You would have to cut them with moving tools. Right, it was supposedly built by Indians who they think they were built by Indians at that time that didn't write anything. But that wasn't the weird part. The weird part about Tiwanaku is the pieces of this ancient city that's in rubble were fit together like fucking Lego blocks. You don't see structures like this anywhere in the world. They literally have fitting pieces and lines that are drilled into each other, and they're either cut with, I hate to say this, they're a moving tool, or laser. I mean, that's as best as I could say, because the time frame in mankind doesn't line up with the stuff that's there.
No, yeah, and most people, think that technology was like, people think it was the Egyptians and Mayans and then the people in Asia. What people don't realize is all these civilizations are going on at the same freaking time, and how did everyone realize to build a pyramid? How did everyone, and the symbols for God are pretty much the same too. I'm getting a bunch of my information mixed up, but basically the universal symbol for God was the dove, and it's like, how do all these people from all over the world have the same meaning for the same shit?
Don't know.
It's obvious, my conclusion, it's harebrained, but whoever was here, whether you want to call them the Anunnaki or whatever, they probably had, they were space flaring and they could fly. They probably were going around teaching everybody, and it's funny that, there's just little tiny differences in everyone's Genesis story around the world. Pretty much they all share the same thing. It all started from either someone in the sky or two people here, or, all these similarities in everyone's culture that were supposedly separated by thousands of miles of ocean. But, gosh dang, All
right, guys, we got less than 3 minutes. Less than 3.
I'm telling you, the knowledge of Forever Time is worth your time. It's 5.5 hours. You can watch them in hour blocks, and it's going to just pop your knob. Dude, it's amazing.
I think we lost. Lucy, are you even there? Lucy?
Maybe not.
Nope. Probably not. We probably just lost her.
But yeah, sorry I didn't get on for too much. I've, hopefully for the next time I was going to research some articles and stuff, so I'm not just telling people to Google it. But I kind of caught myself off guard and didn't have time to plan up.
Yeah.
My phone died.
And that's a wrap. I'm going to run out with the ending credits, and then we'll close out. Good night, everybody.
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly.